Okay, so on to street talk then, and yeah, no, I thought it was an all right week this week, as I was saying earlier. It did decline in quality a little bit on today's episode. Did you think? Well, I know you thought that.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talk about wine a little bit then.
What?
What are
I
you
just
doing?
get a
I still
pillow.
thought you left me. I
I'm
thought
just
that was it.
going.
Gemma's got up from the sea. She's back. Okay. Right. So storylines for this week. I've got some pretty dodgy titles, Gemma. I've shared
I
some
don't
of
believe
these
it.
with you already, but not all of them. Right. We're going to start off with the Toy and Spider story because they do get headlines this week. I haven't got anything to do with the kidnap. I couldn't think of anything, but there is an engagement this week, so you could call the storyline Spider Wed.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Spider wear.
Yeah. Or I've got the Brider Spider.
The bride of spider.
No, the Brider Spider.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, one of those two. I just as I was walking into it, I did that we could call it "Our Kidnapped" because Toya Leon's sister was kidnapped. Okay, so we'll go with one of the other ones.
Oh.
The Damon child we got next, and next one. I mean, it's just hashtag Bring Back Henry the storyline, isn't it? Because the campaign starts here. I mean,
Back Henry. Do you think if we say and ask nicely, do you think he will come back? Do you think it's like
look, what?
It's like Father Christmas, and the only reason he exists is that everyone believes in him.
I'm not. I don't want. I don't want to spec. Okay, we'll get to that. We will get to Henry.
Next.
Tim and Jerry.
Like Tom and Jerry.
Like Tom and Jerry, but there is Tim and Jerry in this storyline. It's not very good. There's an Hardy storyline that started as well. And we saw Ryan go off to see his mum at last. Ryan Air flight to Ireland. Like
Ryanair.
Yeah. Told you they were rubbish this week, but at least the quality of the chat is going to be bang on, I promise you. Would you like to do the Spider-Wed storyline or the Damon Child? Which one are you going
I'll do
for?
Spider-Wed.
Okay, right. Go on then. So what's been happening with our Toya and Spider this
Spider-Wed.
week?
Okay, so on Monday, Toya offers to help Carla with Sally's party.
It's Sally's birthday, isn't it?
Sally is
An age. She is an age
28.
this week.
They also Sally. So this is Sally. There's too many Sallys in this show. There's only one character called Sally.
This is the character Sally.
Yeah. They also talk about the fact that Toya has hardly spent any time with Spider. So sad, and we can all agree with that because they have barely had any screen time.
We've hardly spent any time with Spider recently. I can tell you that.
Leanne says, "Look, why don't you guys have a nice romantic evening in? I'm gonna go off, and you can do something romantic, which surely we all know involves
veggie lasagna.
Is
that what you were thinking?
Of course I was.
What else could it be?
Right, so
web slinging.
At the state, don't forget, Spider's an undercover policeman.
Don't forget, everybody, as crazy as it sounds, it's true.
Quite an important part of what happens this week.
Seemingly based at Weatherfield Police Station now. Also this week in the detective's uniform are Craigie.
I know,
detective. I was caught off guard a little bit by that today when he was there with Swain investigating the kidnap. I was like, why is Craig?
I just thought he turned up.
Oh yeah. They have let him be a detective. Yeah, you let DS Swain do all the proper work, Craig. You just stand there and watch on.
Yeah. Yes. Doesn't know what do undercover policemen do between jobs? Nothing. He just does nothing, doesn't he? He's always busy, but he does nothing. It's just like you.
Yeah. No, but the Weatherfield is the crime centre of UK, isn't it? So he's probably very
going around checking measurements. That's what they seem to do, and seeing if anyone sells firelighters on Sundays. So at the station later, Spider, his boss. Now we saw this boss. He's incredibly tall. And they wasted him in this scene because he was sitting down the whole time. Spider's boss is telling him that there's a forum
Craig
post.
was also pretty massive. Maybe that's why they let him on to be a detective. Like, you are quite tall, Craigie. Go on then. Go on.
We don't have a hefty man.
Also, we don't appear to have any other male detectives in this. It's just McKinnon, Swain, Abney. So for sexual equality, gender.
Yeah, we need a bit of testosterone on the force. Sorry, Spider.
Oh yeah, I can't quite remember.
Right. Okay. So apparently, the main job of Weatherfield cops are going on white supremacist forums. I guess not posting, just reading the posts. Spider's boss says, we saw a forum post that's got a picture of you and it's got the word rat written on it, which is dumb because your name's Spider.
Yeah, wrong animal.
Idiot. We think it's Griff's gang because they're crap at animals. The boss says that this new job's come up and with a new identity, it's going to take you a long way away from Griff and his mate. So you need to take this for your own safety. But when Spider comes home, he's immediately distracted by Slinky Toya and a sexy nightie.
She's all sexy.
She's had a week, hasn't she, Toya, this week? First of all, she's sexy. I think, well, at the end of the week, she's tied up with a gag in her mouth. I don't know.
Maybe there was a bit of that going on once the episode had finished on Monday.
We don't know. But he says, blimey. Before they can get anywhere. Leanne comes home with Sam. I don't understand.
He's off. He's sick. He's sick off school
There's
sick
been drama
all week.
At the bistro.
Sam, literally, this is, last week it was penultimate week of term. I'm sure you can make it in there. He just led to parties and
He's
stuff.
He's just watching the latest Disney film. So.
Well, he's in secondary school now at least. Maybe they do proper work.
I don't remember. So drama at the bistro. Ryan's quit. Sam's sick. Can you look after him, please? And they don't really have any choice. But they also have a scene where Toya's made chocolate-covered strawberries, which I guess are vegan. It's vegan chocolate, and they're frozen, and it's gone terribly. And so
yeah, like you said, if you move away from the classic of veggie lasagna, then you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Exactly.
Really, aren't
she
you?
knows veggie lasagna works every time. Why
would frozen chocolate strawberries really be that bad?
Sounds terrible.
It's not like a what's it called? Sorbet.
No, I don't like the sound of it. Maybe if they stay frozen, but if they have been frozen and they start defrosting, they go a bit mank, don't they?
Strawberries shouldn't crunch; they should smush. Says Deirdre.
Launches one in your face. So, Toya says you've written a romantic clamping break, which clamping sounds like exactly that sort of thing that Toya and Spider would do.
Yeah, they're going to go off on holiday.
Clamping is probably where you go to a field and take soil samples for the local council.
Clamping is because they're down on traffic wardens in Weatherfield at the moment, and then the police have to step into their shoes.
Romantic clamping break.
Everyone's leaving the public sector at the moment because nobody's getting the pay rise that they want. So sorry, Spider.
You and Toya have to go down the canal front and see if anyone's parked their car. Also look out for the pusher.
Yes.
Right, Spider.
A glamping break.
Glamping.
Yes.
Spider is not committal about this, and then Sam comes in. Sam's just been an absolute pain in the bum all this week.
I know he's just been in and out of the lounge in his astronaut jumper, going, "Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I'm bored. Oh,
I know.
Entertain me."
Listen, I know that Toya wants a child, and she's been through lots of pain and suffering. But I bet right for this week, she was thinking for a while, like,
"Had a lucky escape there."
God, it's not my kid. Just get rid of him. Right, so Sam can't sleep. And he wants to watch Ghostbusters, which, fair enough, good choice.
Yeah.
And apart from that rude bit where Dan Aykroyd, that bit. The bit where Dan Aykroyd, under the desk, the ghost comes.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? But Sam doesn't even know what's going on there. Don't tell him. Don't tell him. No. Spider jumps his chance to watch this film, because he's a pervert, obviously. Later on, Toya and Spider have fallen asleep. Leanne comes home, and everyone goes to bed, but Toya and Leanne speak, and Toya says that I'm worried about this. Was Spider just not got any commitment to me? Are we really on the same page as each other? I don't know where our relationship is. I killed a man to be with him, and it's not working out. And Leanne says, don't worry, keep working at it. So they end up at the Rovers, do Spider and Toya, and she says, are you really into me, and do you want to get a place with me? I don't want to live with my sister forever. I want a proper relationship. She's like, I've got a job, now I need a flat.
I've got a job with my sister now, at last, after 6 months of unemployment. And now I can afford to buy somewhere to live. Yeah,
that's all you need. Just a part-time job, working in a bar, and immediately you've got enough money to move into central Manchester. So she says, want a proper relationship with you, I want to move in with you. And he says, yes, I would love to move in with you. But wait, how does that fit into his plan to take another job and avoid being murdered by white supremacists?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Find out.
Maybe they could just get a fancy apartment somewhere with like a concierge who won't let white supremacists in. On Wednesday, Spider is still in a hurry to get to work when Toya starts banging on about, oh, we could move here or there or whatever. And
if you're a white supremacist and you're not allowed in somewhere, is it called being whitelisted?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll let you carry on after that
right.
terrible interruption.
Do you enjoy your tea?
Just having a slurp of tea, yeah.
So Toya comes home and finds Leanne there because Sam's off sick again, and Toya's found this letter. She's just up in arms, isn't she? She's been snooping about. She's found a letter, and it's one of Spider's bank statements, and he's got a lot more money than he said he had. So what's going on?
And we still Spider hasn't gone paperless, to be honest. I think how many rainforests have been chopped down to send him his letters in the post every month.
Exactly. Now this is interesting because we never find out what's going on here, do we? Or do we? He's been saving up money. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So why is he even lying to me about how much money he's got? Also, very strange that Spider is actually a romantic conformist, as we find out later. So she's looking on the computer, and he's been looking at all these places to live, but they're all down south. Why would you want to live there?
Well, it's also the fact that it's near his ex, isn't it? It's near where Layla's living.
Yeah, so she's suspicious about this, and Spider walks in on this as she's having a rant to Leanne. So Leanne leaves them alone, and she says, "Look, sorry I snooped, but what the hell are you doing? You've been emailing your ex, you've got all this money, you've been looking stuff up to go live down south." And he says, "No, I've been trying to speed up the divorce. That's why I've been contacting her. And as for the reason why I've got so much money, it's because I bought an engagement ring, or I'm going to buy one, or I have one, or something."
No, yeah, he's been checking out his bank statements. He's been saving up for one. Yeah, but he has got one because he gets down on one knee.
He says, "I would like you to marry me," and then look, Toya's like, "Hang on, no. There's an Argos advert. I have to wait." And then after the break, Toya's still not said yes yet. She's still hedging her bets, but she's very suspicious because she's saying, "Well, it doesn't explain the houses, does it?" And he says, "Look, I have been offered a job down there for a few months." And she's annoyed he's not mentioned this, and even more so when she kind of realises that this job, he's already accepted it. And he says, "Look, I was going to turn it down, but someone's threatening me, and I don't know who it is, but we think it might be a far-right group."
No, at this point, they don't think it's a far-right group.
Oh, we don't.
They kind of go back, and I don't think it particularly matters at the end of the day, but they go back and forth during the week about is it or is it not a far-right group.
Yeah.
I'm not really fussed about who it is. It's just a random woman in the end of the day, isn't it?
Toya is talking to Leanne about it later, and I think Toya's like, I don't know if I can cope with this because if he does go down south, I don't know, I might worry about it, and I don't know whether he's going to be carried on being targeted. This could go on for ages.
Yeah, she's just finding. Well, she's already been living with a secret undercover policeman for the best part of 6+ months or so, and finding it quite draining and concerning. And he could be off wherever and getting up to all sorts of dangerous business.
My problem with this is that when Spider was in this white supremacist group undercover, he didn't make any effort to dress any differently than he normally does. And now he's not in it. He's still wearing the same outfits. He's just wearing hippie clothes with a beaded necklace. Why doesn't he try wearing a suit or brushing his hair or something?
Would that be your main concern if you were Toya in this instance?
No, I'd be like, you're not even making an effort to go undetected here. Plenty of women could change their appearance and be a chameleon or do something cool with their makeup or have their hair differently or something. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm not even going to change my voice.
I'd love to see Spider put on an accent for a sting.
Well, I mean, let's look at the most amazing con man that the street has ever seen, Jude.
Oh yeah, Jude.
He would be an excellent undercover policeman.
Why?
Except, well, because he can fit in anywhere, can't he? Except his boss would be like, "So, have you done any research? Have you found anything out?" "Yeah, I went in to the hideout and I booted the main one in the face and I stamped him to death and now I'm in charge and we're doing a drugs thing. Are you sure?" "No, I got a job at the local, what's it called? Sea Life Centre."
Oh, Jude.
Oh, Jude, we miss you, Jude. Okay, so Spider finds Toya in the bistro and he wants to know, does she want to marry him? And she says, I always used to think of myself as adventurous, but now
Honestly, she was.
Yeah, I know.
Long term, short term watchers of Coronation Street might not believe this, but Toya, she had the thirst for adventure in her early days, in her youth, didn't she? She was,
She was a very different person.
Yeah.
She used to be a criminal.
But she does recognise
as well.
She's a criminal now. Murderer.
Oh yeah, she is.
She does admit that she has settled down a little bit since, and she just wants to have a nice quiet life.
I want to have matching mugs in the cupboard and get a flat in Ancoats. And Spider says, I want to get a flat in Ancoats. We're the same. We think alike. He says, I love your veggie lasagna and frozen strawberries with vegan chocolate on the top. Look. She says, I'll risk living with you. Yeah, I would like to marry you. Hooray, everyone's hooray. So on Friday, there's a celebration at Nick Leanne's. They all have orange juice. That's a really weirdly large amount of orange juice each. There's like 2 litres of orange juice flowing around that place. Simon's there as well.
I mean, that's the biggest. That's how
there?
You know it's a big celebration.
Yeah.
Simon's been invited along for his 3rd appearance of the year.
And what family would you give this group? This motley team here.
It's a bit of everything, really, isn't it? I would probably say Tilsley, Battersby, I don't know.
The Habib, Battersby, Tilsley.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm gonna Blakeman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's everything. I'm gonna say Tilsley. Leanne has been Tilsley once.
So Sam's there, Simon's there, Nick, Leanne, and Toya, and Spider. They're all having a celebration. Tamest drink possible. They're all off the booze, aren't they?
Mm.
Even Sam's giving it up. So Spider then gets a message, and he's like being all shady. He's to meet somebody at Fresco's.
Yeah, well, this is the dodgy people, the people that have got the rat photo.
They send him a message saying, "You're in trouble now," like that or something.
Well, they just say, "Come and meet me in the Fresco's car park."
And then he calls his boss a lot. They've made direct contact. So he goes to Fresco's, and his colleagues are staking it out nearby to see who's going to turn up, but nobody does. Meanwhile, Toya's in the flat with Sam and Leanne, and then a lady turns up, and she says, "Hello, I'm Spider's ex." And Toya's like, "Oh, are you Layla?" The woman's like, "That's my name for sure. I need to talk to you."
Toya basically, throughout the course of this, feeds the lady all the information she needs. Like, I didn't think it'd be this easy, Toya.
We do find out that she knew some of this already.
She knew some of it, but there were definitely 2 or 3 things where Toya tells her something that she needs to know.
Yeah, well, see, this is why if you meet an ex of your significant other, this is why you start trash talking them immediately to find out, just to check they're not a white supremacist masquerading as that your husband to be's ex, like say stuff like, "Isn't it annoying when he eats a frozen strawberry covered in chocolate, but he leaves so much of the flesh on the strawberry
Yes, thank
husk."
you. We also had strawberries today, didn't we? And Gemma made note of the fact that I left an awful lot of straw left on the stalk.
And when you eat an apple, you're like you think you're the bloody King of England. You leave like 3 inches of.
Is that what
you
the King of England does?
Oh, I'm too posh to eat the core of the apple.
Nobody who eats the core of an apple.
You don't get anywhere near it. It's like you're scared of being poisoned. You're not going to die of arsenic from eating near the apple core.
I do leave a lot of apple.
You leave like an inch. Easily, 1.5 inches, I'd say, of apple.
I just feel proud of myself that I'm eating fruit.
No,
it's like, I've done it now. Like I've done 1 lap of the apples outside. Get me my chocolate bar.
Yeah, you're terrible.
Yeah, Toya should have just said, "So what about Spider's intimate birthmark, eh?
Yeah, what about his tattoo on his bum?
Yeah, what does it say again? Remind me.
It was when he was joining that white supremacist group, and it says Hitler did nothing wrong.
But yeah, so Toya is not at all suspicious, is she, of this?
No, why would she be? Why would she be? You wouldn't be. So, Toya's like, you here to talk about divorce? And she says,
yes, the divorce,
yes,
exactly.
I want to divorce him. And Sam comes out, and the woman's like, "Oh, Spider never said you had a kid." And Toya's like, "It's not my kid. Look how lame he is." So Leanne sees Spider in the precinct, and they're just dicking about. But they should be more worried because she's there with this woman that is actually not really.
Hang on a minute,
Spider's ex. Leanne and Spider are in the precinct.
Yeah. And she tells
She says, hey, Layla's, your ex is with
Yeah.
with Toya. You better watch out because I bet they're swapping stories about you. And he says,
Talking about your intimate birthmark
and your
and
tattoo.
bum tattoo.
And he says, but she's not in the country. And then Leanne says, but who is in the flat then?
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun.
Can you tell that we weren't? I mean, I'm gonna
not
say I wasn't
worried.
on the edge of my seat
I'll
about
be surprised
this
if
drama.
anything bad happens. I'll be very surprised.
Nothing bad's gonna happen to Toya. She'll be fine.
I want to know what tat Leanne was buying in that pawnbrokers that she was walking around next to. Anyway, so this ex that spied.
It's
so
not.
here, I'm confused.
It's not Layla. This is not Layla.
No, it's not Layla. But how does he know she's not in the country? Because she lives here. She lives in England.
He's been emailing her about the divorce.
I know, but was she like, sorry, can't speak next week. I'm going to be in Costa Rica.
Well, no. Oh, yeah, she does live down south, doesn't she?
It's none of your business where I'm going on holiday. If I'm getting a divorce from you, you can get bent. You're not finding out anything out about me.
I guess it's just kind of a handy little fact for Spider to know, to twig that this isn't her.
Where do you think she's gone? Fiji?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, probably gone back down to, where is it, South America to relive the glory protest days.
Or like to get over a PTSD from when she nearly got killed. Remember that story that we made up?
Yeah.
Right, so they know, Spider and Toya know that, no, Leanne knows that she's in danger. So we see Toya, who is still chatting away with this fake Layla, giving her a cup of tea and everything. It's rude, isn't it? And Toya's on the phone to Spider, and she's like, oh, hi. Oh, yeah, everything's fine. Oh, interesting. Okay, right. See you later then. Bye. And then she says to Layla, do you want a cup of tea? And Layla says, I already have a cup of tea. Why would you offer me another cup of tea? What was he saying on the phone? But then it cuts. We don't know what happens next. The next thing we know, Spider and Leanne run into the flat to save the houseplants. They've all been killed. There's been a murder.
Broken plant pots all over the grounds.
Exactly. Blood
Poor
splatters.
Spider. That probably is as bad as finding.
He's like, oh my god.
Oh, my plants, my beautiful plants, my babies.
I got this one from South America when my wife nearly died.
Call 999. There's been a plant-based emergency.
There's been 2 murders
as well.
So, Leanne's panicking. Spider's trying to stay calm, but he thinks that it's one of these far right groups.
Look, you just said a fart rights group. Is that somebody tells you how to break wind appropriately?
Yeah, do not do one of those like very longly protracted, like high pitched ones.
Is that what Steve McDonald was doing in the Tai Chi group on
earlier this week? Yeah, do a very rich and full throated. Triumphant one.
Right, anyway.
No, it's a far right group,
Right group.
So Leanne realises that Sam is gone to play chess with Roy. So
I didn't really understand
I assume that Toya realised what was up and she saved Sam before she managed to let... I know, I would have let him die. So
I'd take him instead.
I'm too young.
He's survived a kidnapping before. He knows what to do. I've got no clue.
He's fine in a van every night. He started following Weatherfield.
Yeah, just stick a radio on for him. He'll be okay. Give him his telescope.
I'll tell you what, play him the shipping forecast. That could open up a whole new world for him. Who knows? So Sam's safe, but nobody knows where Toya is. So Spider's panicking. He's asking everybody, do you know where Max is? Because it's really important. And meanwhile...
Yeah, he reckons it's related to Max's.
Well, I mean, it's like the only other characters in this show who are white supremacists are these 3 characters. I've got to find them. So, meanwhile, in the bistro, which is the most important, best place to have an interview with a child that's just been traumatised, possibly by a kidnapping, Swain is trying to ask Sam about this woman and what does she look like. And Detective Craig Tinker is there on the case, crack team, not related to the fart right group. Everyone is worried about where Toya is.
See, sometimes when people try to fart, then they follow through, and it's not the right way of doing it. This is what you need to do. Don't clench too tightly, everybody.
Don't trust it either.
Yeah, don't think you can get away with a silent one, because that's just asking for problems.
It is. So, finally, Spider remembers to go outside to the front of the studios, which is sometimes used for Highfield Prison, and he finds that Lauren and Max are there, having just met up with her dad, which I guess is in a different storyline.
That is a different storyline.
So,
Are you enjoying this?
Max says, I don't know what you're talking about, and then Lauren says, I don't know why this isn't in this storyline, because this is part of the thing.
It's a mixture.
Lauren's like,
it's a mixture.
Do you know what I think's happened here? There was a woman come along, and she was like, do you know Toya? And I said, no, not really. And she says, but I'm from a far right group. And I said, oh, in that case, she's pretending to be a journalist, and I told her everything. Yeah,
Lauren's trying to get justice for her dad, and the journalist said to her, look, if you tell me some info about Spider and him being an undercover cop and everything, then maybe I'll be able to pull some strings and get your dad a reduced sentence. And Lauren's like, sings like a canary. Sings like Lauryn Hill.
Mm-hmm. So, Spider's like, oh no, I think it was that white supremacist group. Goes back to the flat and says, it's someone from my past who's taken her. I don't understand whether this is a white supremacist or just someone that he knows who's just an annoying cow.
I don't know. I don't think it really matters.
No, it doesn't really. That's the thing. It's like, so anyway, we also cut to Toya, who's just in a back of a van. She's gagged. She's tied up. She's kicking the side of the van. People are rude. There was a bloke walking down the road listening to our podcast, so he didn't hear her banging on the side of the van. So sorry about that, Toya, but we are incredibly popular. She's...
You wouldn't understand.
No, you wouldn't get it. So she's crying. Nobody's listening to her. And it's not that much different from her normal life. Except it's more intense in the van. The lady opens the back of the van and she takes Toya's gag off for some reason so that Toya can scream in her face.
It's just so she can say there's no... Yeah, she literally gives her the opportunity to scream just so she can say, there's no point screaming, my darling. Nobody will ever hear you.
And then puts the gag back on and says, you're going to be here for a while. And then closes the van up. So now Toya's stuck in the van. No toilet, no drink, no radio.
Yeah, at least Sam had a bit of entertainment when he was kidnapped. Toya can make her own entertainment, can't she? She's all right.
What do you think she's going to be doing in there now? She's got to wait till Monday.
She's just... This may be all of these months that she hasn't been in the show as preparation for there. Just like...
Training her up.
Just shut down like a robot, power down and go...
Toya powering off.
So, I just thought the kidnapping was a little bit naff today. I think
we didn't get to see her being skrilled away, did we?
No, and get that.
Okay, sorry, but I want to know, how did she get Toya from inside the flat to the van?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
She thinks she's like, you better come with me or I'll kill Sam, probably. And Toya was like, okay.
Like, there must have been a pretty big struggle there because there was
that's a point.
Blood all over the floor.
Yeah,
so however she did it, and she clearly, only dripped on the floor of the flat because there weren't blood stains that Spider was slipping over as he was racing up there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
she bled all over the floor. There was a struggle, and then somehow this woman managed to tie her up and compose her to the extent that Toya was willing to get into a van tied up with this woman to drive her off. When she knows she's smart enough, this is why she was trying to escape the whole time. She's not just meekly letting her get away with it, is she?
No.
So I think she would have fought and screamed and stuff because she's bright enough to know that it's not a good idea. I mean, the whole family's been kidnapped at least once now, so they would have told her themselves.
There's literally somebody of importance, usually related to your storyline, walking up and down the street at all times. So I don't really know how she managed to get her there. Yeah. But let's just say she did. I get how they wanted to make it as Spider and Leanne get home and there's a bit of a mystery over what's happened.
It wasn't a mystery, though, was it?
That's the thing. It was a mystery for them, but as a viewer I do feel a little bit shortchanged that we didn't get to see Toya, trying out what is it she used to do? Kung Fu. What is it? Kickboxing Toya used to do back in her teenage days. I would have liked to have seen a bit of a
feisty fighting.
Yeah, feisty fighting in the flat, but we were shortchanged with that, and so the whole kidnap just fell flat for me. Unfortunately, I went into tonight's episode having seen a headline on the front of the TV guide: Toya gets kidnapped.
Toya gets kidnapped. That was a really good headline.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that sounds like it could be interesting. I don't know anything else about it other than Toya gets kidnapped, but I kind of left the episode thinking that's a pretty accurate description of what happened. Toya got kidnapped.
I hope that we get
not much else.
I hope that we get explained how this happened.
I don't think we will. I think it was just a bit.
But do you not think it's really rare for a woman to kidnap and another woman, like, and physically force her into a van?
I think it was just corner cutting. It felt like to me.
But it feels like a much fairer. Like, I feel like if a woman tried to kidnap me, I think I'd have a go.
I think you do a good job.
If a man came to kidnap me, I'd be much more scared of having a fight with him. But if a woman came, I'd get really mad and try and pick her eyes out or something.
Toya's probably just like, let's just talk about
your
problems. Who do you think you are? Have you had some trauma in your life that's led you to this kidnapping stage?
I'd say to this woman, who do you think you are? Some kind of feminist? Think you can do a man's job? No. Go and come back with a man and kidnap me properly.
No, I just like so we didn't get to see that. I did enjoy the scene of Toya tied up in the van because it was like, here's a bit of action, kicking against the side of the.
Having a little, banging.
I thought that she did a good bit of acting there, did I, Georgia? Of course she did. But everyone else, and I'm not saying it was bad acting from everyone else, but I don't know whether it was the script, was it the direction, was it the writing? It was
lack of
kind of a combination of it all that like. I mean, Spider's rushing around occasionally going, oh, have you seen Max? Oh, have you seen Toya? Oh my gosh, Toya's been kidnapped. But I didn't really feel that there was genuine panic in there. And Leanne's more just like angry at the situation.
Yeah, Leanne's just like, this is typical. I'm so
bloody
cross.
Typical. I'm just looking forward to having a nice weekend. Now this has happened.
Bloody kid's sick.
So, yeah, exactly.
Now my sister's been kidnapped by a far-right organisation.
And it was another one of these, like, middle of the day dramas, so there wasn't any like shady lighting or anything that made it feel there was when we saw Toya in the back of the van, and that to me was the most atmospheric bit because she was in the dark, but everything else was bright May sunshine or whenever it was that they filmed this.
Do you think that was the teenage wasteland they filmed?
It felt like it was probably fairly close to the Coronation Street studios where they were at the end there, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, there was definitely when they were parked alongside of the road and that guy was listening to our podcast. That was near the studios as well. When
Spider was on the phone to his boss, that was right down the road from there as well. It was all very, very local, wasn't it?
Also, I just want to say, like, Sam, obviously, Judy Alden is a fantastic actor. But when he was sitting, I don't know what they told him to react like, but when he was sitting, being interviewed by D.S. Swain about what happened and who did he see, he just seemed so chill. Did they not tell him she'd been kidnapped or something? He was like, yeah, I was playing chess with Roy. It's like, sorry, this isn't Cluedo. You're not giving an alibi. You want to know what you saw. He didn't seem worried. He wasn't going, oh, what happened to Auntie Toya? Is she going to be all right?
No, there was just none of that.
And like you said, the only person who really did seem to care was Leanne, who just seemed like, another day in my life.
Spider was more like acting like if he doesn't look like he cares, then he's going to look like a bad fiancé. People are going to suspect.
He's like going, oh my God, have you seen Toya? Because she's got a very slender finger and I haven't got a receipt for that ring. I'm not going to be able to find another woman like her.
Oh God. What did you think of the whole engagement thing on Monday? Did you know that was coming? Because I didn't know that the proposal was coming. So I thought it was when he got the ring out, I was like, oh, excited. But I'm really, really struggling to invest in any of it because I have got it dead set in my head that this is a Spider exit storyline, and I have absolutely got no facts or information.
No, I don't
I've not read any spoilers. I've not seen even the slightest hint anywhere that he's leaving.
No, because he was, he even went to the summer.
Yeah, he was at this Curry summer party, which we'll talk about later. So he's, he was still there, maybe, but. Yeah, and I don't know whether it's just a case of me being worried because I really like Spider. I think I just love his retro charms. And
love Spider, love Toya, love them together.
I do as well. But when his contract has come around and when there's a story of, he's literally been offered a job down south that he has accepted. So unless he
Yeah.
turns around and says, "Oh no, actually, I
Oh,
think I'm
really?
going to stay here,"
I think it's obvious what's going to... Like, he's going to... Next week, he's going to rescue her.
it's literally going to be
And
Monday.
yeah.
Toya's going to be rescued. She's like, "Oh, this is too much drama for me."
No, I think she's going to say, I don't care. I'd do anything. I've lost one man not that long ago. Don't ask questions. I can't lose someone else. And he'll go, no, Toya, I have to let you go. I can't risk this happening to you again. And also, Leanne's just given me evils. I can't go. Yeah, I honestly think he's going to be the one that ditches her and says it's for her own good because he can't bear to have this possibly happen again. Oh, I'm too dangerous, me. I can't risk it. Give me my ring back.
Yeah. Well, one way or the other, it just feels like Monday could be his last episode, and I am really, really sad about it, with no proof whatsoever. And please prove me wrong. And I don't often get this, but anyway, I guess there's not too long to find out about it, so I can't be invested in this engagement. Which obviously, if I knew for sure. You know, he's on a 5-year contract. I'm like, brilliant, Spider and Toya are getting married. I love it. Because...
Or 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. If it happened then. I as, you know, a long-time Corrie watcher who really found Spider and Toya's courtship incredibly sweet back in the late 90s, starting off with Toya's obsession with him. He wasn't that interested. And then, you know, a couple of years went by and eventually he was like, oh, actually, Toya, you are pretty hot. I really, really love Toya and Spider, so the thought of them being wed, lovely. I just can't invest at the moment, sadly, and I'll feel that I've been cheated if I do.
One thing I like about this storyline is that we genuinely do not know is going to happen, so it can speculate really freely about what we think is going to happen. Like, quite often, well, not quite often, but sometimes we might, like, know, we've heard so-and-so's leaving, their contract's running out, or we have some kind of information about where the story might be going, right? Sometimes we do, and we don't say some things that we might have guessed about. Whereas this one, I generally don't have any clue.
No, but the way that it's been built up so far, and it's not that exciting. It feels like to me it's going to be, oh, they're driving past. Oh, look, there's a van. What's that? Can I hear Toya coming? You know, I'd hope that it's exciting and maybe she cuts herself free and nuts the woman and then makes a mad dash for it or something like that. I'd love there to be some kind of action, but I'm not holding out much hope. I think it's going to be over and done with pretty quickly, and then there's just going to be lots of other stories going on Monday when really character getting kidnapped should by far be the A story. And I think it was the A story today, I suppose, but no, I don't have...
Toya... The woman fake Layla opens the back of the van and Toya like nuts her.
Yeah.
And then her blood sprays in Toya's face and she licks her lips and goes, I haven't tasted blood for 15 years, but I could get used to it. Yeah. And starts kicking her.
I'd love it.
Or the reason they find Toya is because the van's in Teenage Wasteland and it's rocking slowly side by side and she's just singing like Take That songs or something to herself.
With a gag. Is that Take That?
I don't know. Is it a boy? It's a boy band.
Yeah. Another problem, and I'm just laying on problems with this at the moment, is that I don't know whether the wider audience is going to necessarily care that Toya's been kidnapped. I mean, we're fairly chill about it, and we're big Toya fans, and I know that she's not necessarily the most popular of characters with the Corrie viewers, so I can imagine a lot of people are probably watching today going, so what? Toya's been kidnapped.
That's rude.
It's true though, isn't it?
I'm frustrated because Toya's got so much potential. George is such a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
But you know, she did great acting. I thought she'd really been kidnapped.
I thought it was amazing. If Spider does
and those strawberries, I believe that they were terrible.
If Spider does go at the end of this, what's your overall reflections on his comeback? Was it worth it? Was it worth making him a police officer?
I'm honestly find it perhaps the most baffling return since Stephen came back as a serial killer. I don't know. I don't see. I'm really confused. I don't know. I don't get the thought process behind bringing him back
If you look
to
at
make him
last
an
year's,
undercover policeman.
if you look at last year's big summer returns, it was a bit weird. Like, yeah, Stephen's back as a serial killer, Spider's back as an undercover
Yeah.
policeman, Wendy Crozier's back as
As a-
adoption
I know you
lady
said
or whatever
estate
it was.
Social worker.
Social worker. Like, okay.
It's like they had a bag, didn't they? They had like
Yeah.
like Osborne big book of boring jobs, and they were just flicking through
A
it, going,
serial killer, what a drag.
"Oh right, then it's not a job either, is it?" But you know what I mean? It was like they were doing Mad Libs, going, "Oh yeah, Stephen is serial killer, hooray!" Who's
At least,
next?
Martha. Oh, she's still an actress. That's
Oh,
okay.
that's okay then.
Yeah, I think even if he goes, and I think that was a bit of a weird chapter in his life, to be honest. I'm still glad to have him back, and I'd rather Spider come back with a bit of an odd story that doesn't necessarily suit him than us never see him. Honestly, because I still filled with joy with the fact that after nearly 20 years away, this character that I've got a lot of affection for, we've seen him. Just very sad that there's been many months where he's barely had anything to do, and after the extremism story sort of went off with a bang in January, he's been missing. But yeah, I'm happy for it. Odd that they've not used it as a vehicle for offing Emily, I suppose. But
Yeah, what's that about?
maybe that's for his next return.
I assume it's out of respect for
Eileen Derbyshire.
I honestly don't think that she'll be mentioned again until Eileen Derbyshire.
Yeah, but even if and when, well, not if, even when that does happen, I'm not convinced that it will get mentioned.
No, it won't.
doesn't
I
for
don't think it will get
everybody.
mentioned for
It
a
might
while,
be a Bill
I'm
Webster
sure.
situation, wait 10 years until afterwards.
Maybe.
I don't know. So yeah, I was also thinking for Spider, I do really like him and Toya together, but I wasn't necessarily impressed with the way that he was treating Toya during the week and being all shifty and
No, I don't.
or
I
agreeing the job behind her back.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
what's his priorities?
yeah.
The other.
It seems weird that his priorities do seem to lie in his job rather than her, and it goes against what he used to be, didn't it?
Yeah.
He is now working for the man, and he's doing it for a good reason.
Yeah, but we've still never had any explanation as to why he's had such a drastic change of heart as a grown man. Like normally that kind of happens when you're, becoming an adult and you're.
Well, yeah,
a bit more idealistic as a sort of younger person, and then something happens. But he was a grown adult who suddenly become a complete...
Well, he kind of, didn't he say that it was all to do with that protest that he saw in South America, and then he wanted to take down people from the inside.
It didn't make sense. Anyway, the other thing we're jumping ahead to loads of conclusions here, which we've been proven wrong before about stuff.
I really want to prove them wrong.
If at the end of this, Toya gets rescued and Spider's like can't stay, got to go, and leaves the show, it's going to leave Toya alone again, adrift with no storyline left.
No storyline, very little in terms of friends, colleagues. She's got
no
Leanne.
boyfriends on the horizon, and I wouldn't want her to anyway, because I just want her to. I wanted to settle down with a nice man and get a good job.
Yeah, I don't need.
Or
yeah,
do something. Yeah,
I want her to be happy, but I don't need another story of her romancing again. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation.
Honestly, I think she'd be great having, like I said, I've said this for ages, a juice bar like they had in London. Why don't they just do that? Let them have a juice bar.
Well, she nearly had the Rovers back earlier on this week, didn't she? When Daisy said, Toya, you're very sensible. You look after the Rovers for a bit. And Toya's like, actually, I used to run
Toya
this
never
place.
said anything. I've been like, excuse me, you leave me behind that bar. When you come back, you won't be able to move for wasabi peas. I've run this place before.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it was a lot more bustling back then because it was pre-COVID.
We had more punters and it was before you were even born. So get out of the way.
So I'm interested in finding out what happens on Monday, because literally I don't know. I really hope to be proven wrong, but I'm not as on the edge of my seat as I should be in any kidnap story, let alone one that involves some of my favourite characters. So something's not quite gone right.
This is like
here.
If you give me some cake. If you give me a piece of cake, I'll go, okay, all right, that's nice of you. I don't think about it. I wasn't interested in it. I didn't want any, and I won't think about it anymore after this. But as it's here, I shall enjoy it. You know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We might be proven wrong on all counts on Monday.
Well,
There's
I mean,
only a few
it
days
was
to
still
find out.
fun. It was still fun. It was just like you
Oh,
said.
yeah, but it was, and
there
it was.
There was bizarre lack of interest.
We've been asking for
from the
them to
characters.
appear on screen, and now they have. They're on the front page of one of the magazines, at least for
Yay!
this week. And this is what we get. So this is our monkey paw wish here. Right, so on to the Damon Child story, and it's still not completely confirmed,
No,
but I
this
think
was
this is an
great.
absolute
This was even
appropriate storyline title for this now.
Oh yeah. But the way they played this was even better than you. Well, you kind of predicted it, but the way they played it was even better than that, I thought.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with myself that what's gone on
good
here
job.
matches my prediction that I just came. I'm terrible at predictions. I know I've just been saying this is what I think is going to happen with the spider stuff, but my predictions are almost always wrong, or I just don't have the imagination to come up with a decent soapy twist for something. So a couple of weeks ago when I said to you, oh, maybe she's going to tell Adam it's actually his, but actually it's Damon's, and then it's come true. Well, kind of come true.
Well,
so
tell me what happened.
So, Peter starts the week coming back from wherever it is. He's been. I still. Do you remember where he's come from? I don't know.
He was swimming with orcas.
Portsmouth. Anyway, and Nick sees a headline on the calling boy outside the cabin saying "Local gangster killed by hitman." And
Hitman.
Hitmen. Hitmen.
Is that like a fat man?
Yes, exactly. And Paul's got a paper and says, oh, Nick, they've not released the name yet of who it is, and Nick's very anxious. So this started off a quite nice mystery on Monday's episode, didn't it? Like a who's been killed. And I wasn't in any... I wasn't scared at all. Well, not scared, I don't quite like it, actually. I wasn't under the impression that it was Damon that had been killed here.
Nope.
I knew it wasn't. But having this little plot that was worked into different stories and a bit of a mystery running through the episode, I found it quite interesting and quite a good way of tackling the story. So, nice one, Corrie. Nick is worried about this, so he thinks that Adam's been and sent Damon away to his doom, basically.
Yeah, so Nick knows Adam arranged for one of Damon's nefarious colleagues to spirit him away somewhere.
Yeah.
Or no, Damon ran away because he knew that this guy
he knew
was
that Niall was
him
coming after him,
because Adam told him that he had dobbed him in. And Nick and Adam both know this. So Nick goes and shows Adam about this.
Yeah, and says, look, his blood is going to be on your hands. He's my business partner, actually, and also a fellow human being. So I blame you.
And
if it's Damon.
He's a bloody business genius. He's like the Weatherfield version of all the dragons.
We have Bistro late night licensing to thank. Well, we have Damon to thank for that.
If he dies, Adam, who is going to run the pop-up?
Yeah, the pop-up bistro.
Food truck. Not me. I'm not doing any work. You know what I do? I just walk around looking stressed out. That's my tip. If you want to, at work, you want to get away with not doing anything, just walk around looking stressed and nobody will ask you to do anything ever again. That's how I get Leanne to do it all.
So, speaking of work, back at the factory, we got Sarah and Owen, and Michael's doing some kind of Zen pre-power meeting meditation thing, which is kind of funny.
Do you think this is what Stephen gave him? Because Stephen's very good with his power.
He is, isn't he? Yeah. And Michael is Stephen's protege, isn't he? Yeah. So he probably just wants to be like the great Stephen Reed. So Owen says, "Look, Sarah, I need your help, your expert business skills to pitch this new idea that you've got to my boss later." And she's like, "Wow, me really? Well, okay."
Sarah, you are amazing. You're so good at doing the business pitches. You sound like you know what you're talking about. I need you to do this, and I want you to wear that top you got on now with the cleavage.
Yeah, so
because apparently his boss is obviously a gay lady, because I've just remembered it's a lady.
It is. It's a Joanna Lumley alike, isn't it?
Yeah.
So she comes around later anyway. We'll come
Business
to that.
Lumley.
So Adam goes around to see Nick again later. He's been to the police station in his role of lawyer, but they can't confirm who the body is. They have a little bit of a whisper about what Nick's going to say to the police if it is Damon if they come round. And Nick says, look, I'm not going to lie. If they ask me, I'm going to have to tell them that you chased him away with a hitman on his tail, because I don't want to get in trouble.
No. I want to see a little scene between Nick and Adam where Adam says, look, Nick, how are you going to react when they tell you that it's Damon? And Nick's like, no, hang on. hang on. What?
Nick
no,
would
that's Ken.
Nick's is a scrunched up face, kind of.
He'll go,
What? It's Damon. Adam
Damon,
says, "Look, Nick,
no.
please, you got to keep stum about this." And Nick's like, "Well, fine, whatever, but it's all going to come out eventually. I know how things work around this place." Yeah. So Sarah's doing her pitch later to Joanna Lumley lookalike, and it's for a new range of maternity wear. And this is still for Nippersnapper, isn't it? Because Owen has taken himself away from the factory side of things, but they're still doing Nippersnapper stuff at the factory. I don't know.
The whole concept of Nippersnapper was that it was a children's clothing company that sold slogans where the adult and the child had matching slogans that were a bit cheeky and funny. So what is this then? How are they going to incorporate that concept to the maternity wear? Is it going to be like, here's a dress and on the bump it's hope it's not a white supremacist or something?
I think we need Sarah Lou here on the podcast to sell it, because she's apparently done a really good job, and Business Lumley thinks it's amazing.
Michael's daddy is question mark.
Yeah, this is all Michael's business, so there's going to be more cash coming in for him. Sarah's proud of how well she's done, and the lady is so bowled over by the expert delivery from, that's right, Sarah Louise. Yeah. She may look as thick as two short planks, but actually she's very good at delivering a sales pitch.
She's thick as two short planks. The lady's like, you are fantastic, you're a business genius, I need you to come to America with me, bring that top. We're gonna
Nobody else could possibly sell this maternity wear, which is literally just plain old.
It's literally clothes with
baggy
a lady.
Clothes.
It's literally just a lady wearing dresses, but she's got a big stomach.
Yeah.
And the woman's like, I'm so mad about this because I wish I'd had this when I was pregnant. Are you sure?
So Sarah has been invited to America for this, and which she thinks is marvellous.
No, don't go.
And so Dee Dee finds Sarah Lou in the pub later and says, "Oh, congrats, I heard the pitch went really, really well." And Sarah says, "Yeah, it did, but I've been asked to go to America." And she doesn't seem too happy about it, because she says, "I can't do it if I'm having a baby, can I?"
Yeah, you can. They apparently they have that in America too.
What?
Pregnant women.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe she's just worried about going on the flight if she's got a baby.
She's like, how am I supposed to go on a
plane? Are pregnant
plane?
women not allowed to on flights? Is that still a thing?
I think the last 3 months.
Oh, there we go.
She's like, how am I supposed to go on a plane to America without boozing up?
She's obviously worried about the fact that if this baby turns out to be Damon's, Adam could well split, so she'd be left looking after the kid herself. But she says, look, if I knew that Adam was definitely supporting me, maybe then, but I don't even know if he wants this baby. This is very much like as this was going on Monday, I was like, okay, this is working towards my prediction very, very nicely. She wants to go to America, and it's gonna give her even more reason to tell Adam that this baby is his, no matter what.
But she's dumb here because she's being told that she's a business genius and great at pitching. Why would she think she needs Adam to support her if she's going to America to sell maternity clothes?
Well, I think that she wants to maybe leave this baby at home with Adam while she goes swanning off to the States.
I wouldn't leave a microwaved burrito with Adam, let alone a baby.
I don't know how he would look after her, considering the amount of work that he apparently does. But anyway,
I don't think he even would know which one's which.
He'd soon find out.
I don't know.
Sarah goes home and tells Adam about it, but not the travel offer. I think at the end of the week, is he still in the dark about that? Maybe, I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. So she goes out to the bedroom, and then he starts snooping around on her phone because he's mega paranoid about this whole.
Well, he's also thinking, has she had a message from Damon? Because then he will be alive.
Yeah, exactly. He's wondering. So she catches him at it and wants to know what's going on, and he's like, okay. Cards on the table, done something bad here. He tells her everything about chasing Damon away the other week, and also the fact that this body has turned up, and Sarah's pretty mad about this. Mostly because Adam setting Niall on Damon is proof that he doesn't trust her. Because if he thought that she would, could live without dropping her drawers for him again, then there'd be no need for this. But yeah, so
what's wrong with plain old revenge?
Later on, Sarah comes into the room again. She's all upset. Drama. She's bleeding.
Oh.
From the pant area.
No.
Something's not right with the baby, and this was a maybe slightly unnecessary break time drama, but it did give them the opportunity to get to the maternity ward. Turns out everything's okay, just normal bleeding. And then they see the fetus on the screen, don't they? They do the scan, and there it is. And the sonographer says, "Oh well, he just wanted to give mummy and daddy a fright." And Adam is just a bit too overwhelmed by the whole of this. He's been called daddy by the sonographer. He's looking at this kid that he so wants to be his, but it could. There's a very, very good chance it is actually Damon's here. So he goes and sits out in the corridor and has a bit of a stress.
It's like, oh, look at this beautiful babe. Do you want to know? Do you want to know if he's Scottish or English?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see a kilt. You're all right, love. So Sarah finds Adam outside the room, and he says, "Oh, I want this baby to be mine. What if it's not?" Really overwhelmed. So I did feel bad for Adam. I feel bad for Adam throughout the whole of the storyline, and he is being so understanding and so reasonable. His wife of what, 2 years, 3 years
so
max,
many years.
has had an affair.
His soulmate
Has had a number of bonking sessions with the local gangster.
Terrible.
And he's taken her back. And she's still making life so difficult for him.
What a cow.
I know.
I felt bad for her because she was scared that,
I do feel bad for her in a way, but I am also still thinking you kind of brought this on yourself, Sarah.
You can't say that.
She did. She clearly brought it on. Yes, he maybe seduced her, but she was twisting her curls just as much to him, wasn't she?
Adam shouldn't have worked so much.
Mm-hmm. No, stop. We're not going back there again. That's not an excuse. So, back at home, Nick tells Adam, "Oh, the name's been released. Not Damon. Hurrah, it's in the clear."
Cut to another family we've never seen before and never will see again, sobbing on the sofa somewhere because they found out that their father and husband was the victim here.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks of them, do they?
It's probably some kind of Weatherfield mafia family, and they're going, "Oh, the Giovanni, they'll gone before his time." That's my mafia name.
Is that what you think?
Don Giovanni.
Italian Mancunians.
Maybe this is Isabella's family. Maybe she's got mafia links, and that's how they're going to bring her back.
Probably
now she's
true.
done her tour of the Northern Riviera.
Lovely.
I mean, I say that now, and I had forgotten about her. She was going on what, 2-3 week tour about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So I'm thinking
Do you think she'll come back?
We might see Isabella next week.
Do you think she'll come back just thrilled with the beautiful vistas of Northern England?
I'm not so sure.
Especially given the weather that we've had.
It doesn't compare to where she comes from, is it?
In the last few weeks, it's not really been a good selling point, has it?
It's not for a Mediterranean visitor. No.
Mm.
Anyway, so not Damon. He's still alive somewhere.
Maybe.
You're in the clear, Adam. So towards the end of the episode, Sarah settles down with Adam on the sofa, and they talk about how all this drama has put things into perspective, and she really wants to have this baby for sure now. But I really, really need these results. And Adam says, "Look, I know the baby's mine. I saw it, I felt it, I looked on the screen, and I just got that, bonding feeling with it." And Sarah says, "Yeah, but what if it's not? What if the results come back and it's Damon's? Does that matter?" And she's really hoping that he's going to say, "Oh, I said it doesn't matter. I'll be able to keep it."
Picture.
Yeah, he's a cute wee body thing. But he's like, "Well, we'll just have to rethink." And she gets a bit overwhelmed and goes to the shop.
I know, it's terrible though. This poor woman, she's looking at the possibility of having to choose between her baby and her husband. And I know it's her fault.
Yes.
But how bad, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how awful she must feel to sit there with the man that you're supposed to love and trust. I know she's broken the trust herself, but he's there basically saying, pick. Yeah. You're going to have to pick.
Yeah. But he's not saying it coldly. He's desperate for
they both want this baby to be.
And this is why I'm actually really still very much invested in this storyline.
This is such a different way of doing this Who's the Daddy story.
No, it is. And it's a couple that I didn't really care about before. They've done a really good job of making them feel like a proper family.
Yeah.
Making me want them to stay together. I want the baby to be Adam's.
Yeah.
but I don't think it is. And that's great as well, because I'm thinking there is definitely drama down the line with that whenever it comes out. So, yeah, they've done something really, really right here with this story.
Well done. Well done, Corey.
So Dee Dee finds Sarah on
she's
Martin's
off
bench
the-
in the
the
Victoria
shop,
Gardens later, and she can see that she's upset.
Well, she knows that Sarah's... She get told that she was bleeding, and now Sarah's crying, so obviously she thinks something terrible's happened.
Yeah. Sarah says, look, the baby's fine, it's okay. I just don't know what to do if I find out that the baby's Damon's. I can't hurt Adam anymore. And Dee Dee says, look, girl, you need to think of yourself. What do you want? I want my baby, says Sarah. But if the results say it's Damon's, I'm going to have to choose. How am I supposed to do that?
I know, this is great.
Great drama. It's lovely to see her agonising.
I know, sorry, that was really insensitive of me.
The thing
But
is,
she was
though,
great.
next time some hunky guy comes and flutters his abs at her, or whatever it is that men are supposed to do, I haven't worked that one out yet, is she going to do it? Is she going to think, no,
This time
I'm married to Adam, I think I won't. No,
wait,
she'll be doing
it
it again.
Say, I can do it this time, because I know this time I will not have a baby. I'll remember the whole...
Remember not to have a baby this time.
Remember, Sarah. Always having a baby at the worst time. That's me.
It's true, it is. Last time she was pregnant, the dad's body was underneath Gail's annex.
And then she got haunted by her own baby.
Yeah. It's just
and the first time, we won't talk about the first
most inconvenient moment. Oh, well, yeah.
Well,
I just want a drama-free pregnancy, Sarah, says Sarah. And God's like, nope.
Do you think, like, she's going to have this baby and then 18 years' time, she's like, I know it seems unlikely, but I'm up the duff again. I'm going to be Weatherfield's youngest and oldest mother.
18 years' time, though, to be fair, Sarah Lou's probably still going to look like she's 21.
Yeah.
So
she's
maybe...
Like, you know,
maybe all her
surprisingly
insides
enough,
are going to be working like a nubile young mother.
Miss Barlow, your body is still that of a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Seemed like when you had your baby the first time, it just stopped the ageing process.
That's the explanation. So Wednesday, this is the day that the paternity test results are coming in, and Sarah tries to get Adam talking about it first thing in the morning, but he's just like, no, I can't.
I've got to eat my Cheerios.
The more if I think about it, then I'm going to start worrying. So I'm going to go off to work to take my mind off it for now. Adam goes off to the lawyer's office. Dee Dee tries to talk to him about him as well. And he starts to think, oh, hang on a minute, how much do you know about this? Have you told her that has she told you that the results are coming today? And she's like, yeah, I know about it. I'm her biggest confidant at the moment. It's my only job on the show, knowing things and being supportive friends to people.
Yep.
Although I don't know what's gone on with me and Paul and talking about my Christianity, which lasted all of one episode. She's definitely a fair weather Christian there. Anyway, I don't know. Prove me wrong.
What are you supposed to do? Spend every minute once you've told somebody that you're a Christian, just hanging about and going, don't forget about God.
Well, you know, she could have been preachier with Sarah about her morals, couldn't she?
When she's sitting on the bench crying and saying, I'm going to have to choose between my husband and my baby, do you think she was like, I know a Bible passage that would have prevented this whole thing?
Yeah.
Don't be a slapper.
Let me tell you, Sarah Louise, the parable of the tart and the drug dealer. It's a banger, it really is. Little known one.
Yeah, it's one of these... I'm
from the Book of MacLeod.
I'm part of one of these LA Christian.
Yeah, one of these
special ones.
Yeah, I think it might be a cult.
I don't know, but I had to leave the country.
Anyway, so Sarah, so Adam's pretty peeved that Dee Dee knows this, but promises that he's fine, and he says, look, I just got to concentrate on other cases that I'm working on to take my mind off the baby.
Do you have any more boundary disputes?
No, but the case that he's working on is so conveniently about a dad getting access to his child. It's like, come on, you didn't need to make it quite so on the nose as that one. It's like a little unnecessary. We get that he's agonising without this clear reminder in his face. So Daniel finds Adam in the cafe later and says, how are things going with you? And Adam says, well, you know, we had a bit of a scare yesterday. Sarah's bleeding from her bits, but she's okay. And at that moment, though, you know, we felt really close. But now I can't think of anything other than whose baby this is. Literally, he goes through everybody who's involved in this story and tells them. I just really need to know whether this is my baby or not. So Sarah's in the pub with Owen later. There's a scene where she's talking with him about the America deal, but she's getting a bit antsy about the whole thing and scarpers. Adam's in court later, pleading the case of this guy who has got this incredibly conveniently placed child-related case, and the guy thinks, yeah, you almost sound like you are.
In the same situation.
In exactly the same situation as me, but
heart.
this time with an unborn child. And Adam's like, oh, well, yeah, that's what you get. What you pay for when you go for borrows legal services.
Do you think that the judge is like, yes, whatever you say?
Meanwhile,
approved.
So Sarah gets home, and I think some people missed bits of this. I think some people thought that things happened that didn't.
Yeah,
so
we actually watched this.
And that, yeah, she gets home. She's got some bits of paper, hasn't she? They are in envelopes. We don't see her open them.
No,
but these are clearly the pregnancy test results that have come through the post. And she tries to call Adam, but it goes to voicemail. And I think there she was supposed to be phoning him up to say they're here. Come and open them with me, or open them on the phone, or something. But he because he's in court, he's having a bit of a panic attack in court at this point, isn't he? So she can't do it. Yeah, he's having the Coronation Street's. I'm gonna be generous and say fortnightly weird editing, blurry
camera moment.
It's not needed.
We don't need everybody to have a panic attack with camera effects.
People can have it is often the panic attacks. It's panic attacks and being told you got a terminal disease.
Yeah, it happens.
That's just asking.
But why is it happening like you say? It's literally every 2 weeks, and then the last one was Gemma, wasn't it?
This one they employed a technique that I'm going to say they haven't used before, or very rarely, where the cameras. It's like Sam Robertson was carrying the camera around with him. I don't know how they do it.
It's too heavy.
It was right in his face as he's walking around the courtroom. So it was kind of interesting in a way, and it did make us think of that Mitchell and Webb sketch, didn't it? With
so Digby Chicken Caesar.
Yes, and that's what the tweet was that we put out for anyone that didn't get that one. Look it up.
Yes, great.
So anyway, he goes and does that silly little scene there. Dee Dee tries to calm him down in the lobby, but he hurries off. She then goes to find Sarah, who goes and does a bit of hurrying of her own to go and find Adam. And he says, look, the baby's weighing on me. I don't need... And she says, don't worry, Adam. You don't... It's all sorted. And he's like, oh, have you had the baby? Is it mine? Have you had the baby? Have you had the test results? Is it mine? Have you got the letter? And she's like, they phoned, it's yours, hooray, yes, they're going to send the letter, there's a delay with it or something, I don't know how long I can string this out for, but the baby's yours, hooray. And then he's like, brilliant, I'm off to get some celebratory booze. And as he goes out, she gives a classic Sarah Louise worried look, like,
I think
I've done the wrong thing again.
Oh dear.
So Adam sees Daniel outside of the shop very conveniently. Daniel this year is just like the side character in so many stories, and he's like, hello, I'm going to be a semi-confidant to you.
He's not allowed his own story, because the last time he had one, he pushed someone downstairs.
Okay. He's fine though. He tells Daniel the good news. Daniel's like, you sure you didn't get anything through the post?
Do they really just phone you up and tell you?
I wouldn't know.
No, I think
would Daniel know?
I would believe this.
I would completely believe this. I would say it's more likely that you're going to get something on the phone, or at least via email. But anyway, Adam says, no, they've phoned up. That's all the evidence that I need, because he's so desperate for it to be his. He will believe anything at the moment. And despite the fact that he's a lawyer and, evidence is quite an important part of his job, and he's thinking with his heart here, and he doesn't want to consider the alternative. So grasping onto any chance that he can get to stake a claim on this unborn child, he's like, yep, it's mine. He's on cloud number 9. It was lovely. But all the time I was watching it going, oh, Adam, it's probably not yours, is it? So he brings home this non-alcoholic bubbly. They take a swig together. It's pretty gross because of it being non-alcoholic champagne, which is probably, I don't know, you should have just got some apple ties. That's what I always have at New Year, isn't it? Lovely stuff.
You don't need to drink non-alcoholic beverages.
No. But it did give them an excuse to go and have a takeaway instead. So, end of the episode. Sarah's there in Victoria Gardens again. She's got these envelopes still unopened.
I think it's just one.
Was it? Oh, okay, that
Why
envelope.
would they have more than one? Do you think they give them the father and the mother a separate letter each in case
Maybe.
she does exactly what she's about to do?
So she's got this envelope and she's tearing up and tearing up. I've written.
Yeah.
I've written
tears
Sarah
up.
tears up, but I may well have written tears up in the note.
She
She's doing a
does.
bit of both here. She definitely tears it up, sticks it in the Victoria Garden
On the
bin,
top of the bin.
on the top of the bin, like a pregnancy test, and that is it.
So she has not opened this envelope.
Yeah, my prediction had been that she finds out that it's Damon's,
Yes.
but lies about it.
Yes.
But she's just
not
wanting
this
to
is
know.
great. I love this. This is great. This is even better.
Let's come back. There wasn't that much that happened on Friday. We'll come back to
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. So Adam's on Friday episode speaking to Daniel about organising a family celebration. He just wants to sing it from the rooftops that he's going to be a dad at last. And Daniel says, "Well, I think you should probably wait until you got it in writing." And I was like, "No, wait, it's fine.
She wouldn't lie
I'm going
to
to be
me.
a dad. I know. I'm still convinced. Honestly, I'm still convinced he's going to find out that he's infertile somehow." Adam is.
Ooh.
No, I've said this before. I've said
Yeah, I
this
know,
lots of
but
times
no,
before.
yeah, I know you have, but now based on this, that would be a different twist on that.
Yeah.
Go on.
So Adam goes to the cafe later. He's feeding Sarah up. Now she's eating for two. One of them's his. And she
Didn't care
says,
before.
"Look, I've invited your family over to the Rovers later. Hope you don't mind." And Sarah's like, "No way. I've not." She says, "I've not even had my scan yet." But obviously, the main thing is she is feeling still so guilty about the fact that this baby is potentially not his. She doesn't want to go celebrating it. She just wants to
She's
have this
also,
baby quietly herself.
You know, it isn't serious to wait for your 8-week scan.
Oh yeah, I know. But I mean, did you see that fetus on Monday's
What?
episode? That was looking, I don't know. I saw some people
Hearty.
online saying that it looked larger than it should do at this stage in the pregnancy.
Why would they
But
get that
I'm
wrong?
sure Corrie did their homework there.
What? They wouldn't do. You wouldn't.
I don't know. So Platts and the Barlows are in the pub later, minus Sarah and Adam, who turn up late. And that did offer. I was a bit down on today's episode, I suppose, but I enjoyed Sarah's sniping at
Tracy's.
Oh, sorry, Tracy's sniping at who was it? It was
Everybody.
David, wasn't it? Where she says, David says, "Oh, I've got something at home," and Tracy says, "Oh, what is it? A book about how not to raise a right-wing terrorist." "Oh no, of course you don't have that book." And then she reels off another list of books. I didn't write any of them down, but that was a great sort of Tracy
I like
bitch
this
moment.
because there's so much tension. These two. This is kind of like. You don't see this a lot in Corrie that much, really. Two families that don't really have anything to do with each other having to do something with each other. It's normally family groups that are quite tight that you see.
Yeah, I mean they are family now,
The
aren't
Platts
they?
and the Barlows.
Yeah, the dynasties have been joined.
Yeah, I
by
know, but
this
that's why it's funny
marriage.
because they're like, we don't really know you. I don't really want to talk to you. Like I've literally had 30 years to talk to you if I wanted to, and I didn't. So
So anyway, eventually the happy couple arrive, and everyone's like, "Hooray! You're having a baby, aren't you?" Because
Why else would you?
Tracy takes the wind out of their sails a bit. Well, they didn't have any wind in their sails, but she says, "Oh yeah, well done. We know your baby. Congrats."
she's having a fart right group.
And Adam says, "Well,
No.
actually, no, it's not. We're just celebrating because I've had a successful trial."
No.
And that goes to show just how
Rubbish
irregularly
I've won a
that this
case.
happens. I've won a case for the first time in a year. Let's get the whole family celebrating. And they're like, I don't know whether I believe that. And especially when Daniel comes in saying, "Here's the new Barlow baby," which I thought was a bit of a silly thing to do. Like, again, if he'd
Well, he
come
came
in
in,
and
he
they
thought-
hadn't told them yet, if he thought that they were going to announce a
No.
pregnancy and he didn't give them the opportunity to do it.
No, because when he came in, they already had the champagne out.
Oh, okay.
So he's like,
Fine.
"Oh, great. Hooray, we all
You know the news. And so Sarah and Adam then have to admit, "Yeah, I am pregnant." But everyone's like,
Oh.
"This is slightly awkward though, Sarah, isn't it? Because, you have been round the block a little bit. Are you absolutely sure that this is Adams and not that drug dealers?" Well, Ken's the one that is... nobody wants to say it, and it's Ken, Worldly Ken, who is the one that asks.
The scene was obviously really necessary, but I found it really weirdly acted and scripted. I thought it didn't feel natural to me at all. I just
Yeah,
thought
you
they
said that
could've-
at the time, didn't you, actually, when we were watching
I just
earlier?
thought it was not a great scene, which it could have been. It could have been really quite fun, but it just felt a bit.
I like the Tracy
artificial.
bits about the books, but I can't quite put my finger on it, but I know I
It
didn't
was
have as
just
much of a
the
problem
weird
as you
way
did.
that
But
they weren't really asked. They could have done it in a really funny way or in a really dramatic way, asking her who's the father, but they just went for just like, well, who's
You
the
ask
dad
him.
then? Yeah, and it didn't. It had no.
Anyway,
zip to it.
Sarah doesn't like being asked this because she's obviously feeling quite guilty about it. So she goes home. Adam comes along and is able to persuade her to go back to the pub and say, "Look, don't worry about what they think. Let's just go and celebrate.
You're
We're
gonna be
having
a
a
great
baby.
mum.
Gonna be great, mum. It's gonna be
Aw.
fine." And so they go to the pub, and Adam says, "Honestly, guys, I'm the dad. We know it. Stop talking about how my wife's a slag."
Yeah, stop talking
And
about
everybody's
it.
happy.
She's a
for
mother
them.
now. You can't mention sex again.
Yes. So that was that story.
My question is, why didn't they? The other thing is, why didn't they actually say like? Is it just they're just trying to spare Sarah's blushes that they weren't like, yeah, we weren't sure either, but we've actually done a test.
Yeah, maybe.
Because as it is, the way they were both, especially because Sarah looked so shady, I wouldn't have believed them.
No, I know.
The other thing here, right, is that Sarah's now set herself up for a bit of an awkward moment here because she now knows that Adam is expecting a letter at some point, and she's got no idea.
How long can she string this out?
Well, she's got no idea what it looks like. She tore it up.
That's a really
she's
good
gonna like get Michael to like Photoshop up a letter or something, or Dee Dee to help her rope them in.
No, she needs to get her Uncle Stephen to get his tracing paper out again, doesn't she? Like you did with Elaine's letter the other week.
And then Adam opens it, goes, "It looks like Elaine's written me a letter to tell me who I'm the father of my baby." That doesn't make any sense.
Elaine's written me a letter. She sounds a bit suicidal. And Steve's like, "Damn, I swapped the letters
Oh
round.
no!
Everything always goes wrong to me."
And Tim's opening the letter, going, "Bloody hell! I found out who Adam's having a kid with Sarah
So
Louise."
I think this. If I was Adam, I'd be expecting this letter next week, and if I didn't get the letter, I'd be on the phone to the hospital saying,
"Where's my letter? Where's my certificate of
I
daddery?
want to frame it." Yeah, my certificate of daddery, exactly.
Yeah.
So Sarah's gonna have to somehow.
Sarah's gonna forge this. I can't wait to see what she writes. Like, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Barlow, I'm writing to let you know that Sarah definitely is having Adam Barlow's for sure baby. No takes backsies. Damon, not even in the picture. I don't even know why you asked me.
Yeah.
Definitely great. Thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. Excellent. Good job."
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think she's going to give him some letter, and it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be fairly unremarkable, but it's fine because we're now going into the storyline. I don't need him to suspect at the moment. I mean, if we scroll back, if you were in Sarah Lou's position, and I know this is difficult for
It
you,
wouldn't possibly happen to me.
how could you do it? How could you have these results in your hand?
Not open them.
And not just have a sneaky look. It's like when
I
we get
couldn't do it.
emailed the Corrie synopses 2 weeks in advance. It's like, oh, I really want to look, but I don't.
No, that's not the same at all.
It's exactly the same for me.
I couldn't. You know what I'm like, because I have anxiety. So if I don't know something, I get torn up. So I would open it immediately. I probably would open it so badly that I'd rip it to shreds and we better read it.
I think possibly the problem here is that the baby could still well be Adam's.
No, I like that. No, that's great. I think the next twist is going to be that Damon finds out that Sarah's pregnant and comes back, and he wants a paternity test. And then they say to him, "No, you're not having one because you've already had one." And he's like, "Let me see the letter then." And then she's like, "For sake." And then she had to write a fake letter.
He can get one. The baby wasn't to see whether it's Damon's or not. The paternity test was to see whether it's Adam's or not, wasn't it?
I know, but it can't be both, can it? It's not
No, exactly.
Damon's baby. What are you saying?
No, he wants to test his own DNA on this baby.
There's no point if it's already been tested on Adam's and it is. What
Well,
are you trying to say?
I don't know. But anyway,
it would be really cute if it was Adam and Damon's, though.
I'm wondering. Yeah, I think I want. Do I want it to be Adam's or Damon's? To be honest, for the stability of the couple, and for stable couples are very thin on the ground in Coronation Street. It probably is better if it's Adam's baby.
Yeah.
But for the drama,
is
it better that it's
great.
Damon's?
Love it.
This is one of these times where I'm thinking, I want this to be a secret for years. You know, sometimes in
Yeah.
like Callum under the annex, I wanted that to be, you know, to be there a decade, and they managed to string it out for a couple of years. I'd like this to go on and on and on, and Sarah not knowing, but I get a feeling it's going to be, you know, possibly before the year's end, or if not this time next year, when it's all going to come out about who the dad definitely is. But I'm thinking possibly, yeah, if for the happy ever after, I don't want Damon to stay on the show, so it's probably better if it's Adams. But there needs to be some part of the story where people think it's Damon's. So maybe Adam is going to find out that he's. Can he be just like recently infertile? Can he find out that he's infertile, or that he's got very, very, very low chances of it being his? So we'll all assume that it is definitely Damon's, but then in the end it turns out that it is Adam's.
Stop
I don't
giving
know.
these ideas away for free, Michael.
I don't know. But yeah, I just think that the possibilities of this usually run-of-the-mill storyline are very, very exciting.
But this, do you know what though? This is kind of a bit like what happens in horror movies now. At the beginning of a horror movie, where they go somewhere and it's like, we have to explain why they don't use their mobile phones to just immediately stop all of this terrible stuff from happening. Now that there's now that we know that science can tell us who the father of the baby is, we have to have a reason why they can't use that information to solve the mystery.
Yeah.
And it is just Sarah just throwing it in the bin.
I mean, the other options are things like the whole. Could the baby have some inherited disease? Like, is Damon going to come back and he's like, oh, I've got such and such like disease, and then Sarah's going to think,
Michael and
Michael Rodwell and
Gavin.
What's his name?
Gavin.
Yeah, Gavin. Yeah, exactly. Or Jim and Steve and Amy and that congenital condition. It would be very convenient, obviously. Maybe it could be Jacob coming back, because if this baby is Damon's, it means that it's a little brother for Jacob, which is quite cool. But maybe he's got some sort of disease, and then Sarah's like, oh, I need to know. I need to actually properly 100% find out. I don't know. There's
maybe
lots that could happen.
How about this would please you? Damon dies.
Yeah.
And he's left a fortune to his only child, but it has to be his child.
Yeah.
Well, then Sarah's got a reason then to find out whether it is his kid or not.
I think that even if he were to find, then she was to find out.
Serious, am I? No. But can you imagine how funny that would be? Because then Sarah could use that as a get out of jail free card. She'd be like, Adam, we're just going to have to pretend that it is Damon's, just for the money reason. So I've got this forged certificate that says it's actually Damon's, but don't believe it. It's just to get the cash.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm loving this.
Okay.
Yeah, love it. I also enjoyed the discussion about the cold curry.
I didn't get what happened.
Oh, they were just talking about that's what David had back at the house later. He's like, I'm here waiting around for my sister to turn up, and I got a lovely cold curry, and then Steve ends up talking about, oh, I love a cold curry.
Why would you eat cold curry?
Because you're a slob. We have reheated curry.
You reheat it. You don't eat it cold.
Well, Steve does, and that's what gives him problems at Tai Chi lessons.
Congeals.
Right. Anyway, bring back Henry, Gemma. Let's talk this story.
Bring back Henry, you say?
Yes.
Hashtag bring back Henry.
Tell you what. One thing that I have realised online this week.
Yeah.
Generally,
what? People
don't share our Conversation Street approved view that Henry is an amazing character, and you absolutely have to bring him back. I've seen.
I'm surprised.
A surprising, not massive number, but a surprising number of people are saying they don't need to bring Henry back. Who even remembers what Henry is? And then people are saying, "What's going on with Henry? Who is Henry?" And I've not seen anybody give a full and fair account of Henry Newton's time on the street. It's basically, he was this posh guy that dated Gemma for a joke, and then he fell in love with her for real, but she didn't want to know about him, and so she slung him out and kicked him to the curb and got him chased away by gangsters. That is missing out vast swathes of Gemma and Henry's very, very touching and sweet romantic history.
And didn't even bring up the Uber Dubers.
Exactly.
And he was briefly like the landlord. What, people are mad?
He was clearly he was a dodgy geezer, and
I loved him. I
he
loved
had
him.
the whole thing about he was what's it called,
Posh.
betrothed to be married
Cressida.
to Cressida, the other posh lady,
Engaged.
yeah, and yeah, it was like it seemed like an arranged marriage, didn't
Posh
it, by
ladies
the
have
Newtons?
that, don't they? Yeah.
And he wants to marry Gemma because they're madly in love, and then
Chesney's boring.
Yeah, exactly, and he ends up conning or trying to con Jenny and Johnny out of some
Yeah.
compo money by throwing himself
Oh, yeah,
down the
didn't he?
Rover's steps, and he also was rooting around in Rita's jaws to try and steal money
she
from
loves
her.
it.
And there was all of that. He was definitely, you know, a bit of a crim, but he had, I do honestly believe, a good heart under there.
Yeah, but
and he
Michael-
did so suited to Gemma.
I know.
It was unbelievable.
I just want to point out to you that when you're rich enough, you're not actually a criminal when you steal things. It's just the like natural order of stuff.
Yeah, everything magnetizing to you.
Yeah.
So, and it was because of him being a bit dodgy and not and trying to con Jenny and Johnny. I think that Gemma ended up saying, "Look, let's get you away
And
from
then
here."
snotty little git-faced Chesney was the one that arranged for these two posh lads to beat him up and break his clavicle.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole lot more to Henry's story, and I don't know. We need to do a little video or something.
I'm shocked
that's,
because I
here's who
think
Henry
people
is.
need to understand why and how they're wrong.
Yeah. I just want to say at this point, lots of people know that we are friends with George Banks, who plays Henry, that I am obviously in contact with him. I was even playing Mario Kart with him yesterday. So, of course, I have asked him, are you coming back? And I'm not saying any more than that because there is no confirmation yet on the show that he is coming back. There is just, you know, you can take what you like from what's happened this week on the show.
There have definitely been times in Coronation Street where they've previewed somebody returning with something like this, but there've also been times when they've just brought somebody up and that's it.
Yeah, as there is absolutely, from a, you know, whatever standpoint,
Official.
there is no confirmation that he's coming back. No. I am not going to say now what he has said to me. So let's remind ourselves, Gemma.
So,
qu'est-ce qui s'est passé in this story?
On Monday, Gemma is worried because this social worker is going to come around to investigate her because somebody anonymously dobbed her in. And Chesney says, "Don't worry about it. You just get told off. It's fine." Chesney's does not live in this world, does he? I hate him so much.
You were so mad.
I hated him
especially
so much.
Wednesday. You were quite livid at Chesney, weren't you?
Is this the day when he says...
No, Wednesday's the day with the food banks. But Chesney was pretty awful.
At one point he says to her, "I see you're stressed out. How can I help?" What do you mean, how can I help? You don't help. This is where you live. These children are all yours. One of them isn't mine. There's 5 kids in here. Not all of them came out of my vagina. Why are you asking me if you can help? Why don't you just look around the house and see what needs doing and do it without asking me to make you a list? What do you think I am? Your manager? You stupid, useless piece of crap. Okay? He wouldn't last a minute. I tell you what, if he was married to me, he would be... I'd get Stephen to throw him in a bin. That's where he deserves to live, in a bin. Right, so anyway. Beth walks into the cafe and sees Gemma worrying and says, "Oh, it's you, planning on poisoning any more toddlers today?" And Daniel's there as well, and he says, "Look, Beth, that's enough." And then they accuse Daniel of dobbing Gemma in, but then Beth reveals it was her. Nobody's
shocked. This was
shocked.
The weirdest reveal.
Everyone just assumed it was her anyway.
Of course. Who thought it was Daniel that did it when there's horrible Beth?
Yeah,
who I'm sure has had form.
Evil.
I think she's got, you know, social services on speed dial just to dob people in for things because she's just a nasty, vile cow. So of course it was Beth. I think we were supposed to be surprised. I don't know.
Anyway, if Beth's so wonderful, why isn't she looking after her own kid? Her grandkid.
Yeah.
She should give up her job, shouldn't she, if she's that worried about it? So anyway, the social worker...
She slapped a young girl. She slapped a 10-year-old girl, 11-year-old girl earlier this year.
Beth and
How dare
Chesney
she take the high horse?
are the 2 worst characters Social worker Mandy comes round to see Gemma, and Gemma's recounting what happened, and
With the whole pill popping
she's
incident.
like, yeah, I was there, I had all the children, no children here, there,
All 6
everywhere.
of them.
Some of them are hanging from the ceiling, I honestly can't keep track of them. And Mandy's like, hang on a minute, how many kids did you say you had? She's like, yeah, there's 6 of them. And she says, no, hang on, this is even worse than what you said before. You're only allowed to have 4 children for every adult. Well, obviously, you must have known that when you did your training. And Gemma's like, what training? I'm not actually a registered childminder. And Mandy's like, you are screwed here. I don't know what you think you're doing. This is a lot worse than just a kid being on drugs in your house. You may be looking at a substantial fine, or even worse. I don't know.
See, I'm still not convinced that Gemma would pass a DBS check because she has had a very dodgy past.
She used to deal drugs.
Yes.
With a gangster in the roughest pub in Weatherfield.
I know.
And to her, would Bernie? I don't know what Bernie got up to. She must have done a few criminal things in her time.
Absolutely.
Paul's been inside. He wouldn't be allowed to come in the house.
No.
I tell you what, Michael and Daniel, possibly the worst fathers on the street. Just like shipping the kids off to Gemma just to do her a favour, sling her some cash.
She has changed and had a new rebirth, hasn't she?
I don't know how this woman has coped a single day with 6 kids, having to look after 6 kids.
Hans Chesney. He's the biggest baby of
let
them all.
alone doing it day after day after day, also having to put up or like to deal with the fact that her poor brother is dying and having to marry that stupid lunk Chesney. So anyway, Gemma goes and sits on the swings in the precinct, and Paul finds her and says, I've heard about this.
This was a nice scene, wasn't it?
I appreciated this scene because so she doesn't want to talk to him about it because she knows that he's already got enough on his plate, but eventually she relents and tells him what's happened, and she says, I'm really scared, and he gives her a hug and starts giving her advice and she's saying, look, I should be looking out for you, not you helping me. And Paul says, look, don't worry about it, the social worker's going to see that you're trying your best, and there's probably loads, she's probably seen way worse than you. Do you remember that druggy Abby, for example? She's pretty bad. At least you weren't on the drugs. It was just one of the kids.
Yeah. No, I just thought that as a brother sister bonding scene, it was lovely. They had a few this week, like some of the Ardy and Asher stuff was quite nice as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So he says that I'm really proud of you for trying to overcome your depression. And so I thought this was nice too, because I think Paul just likes the opportunity, not like in a malicious way, but feels happy that he can offer her a comfort, and it's not everybody coming to him and feeling.
Yeah, he's embarrassed that everybody is, having to serve him at the moment, and he's just feeling like a bit of a taker because he's got no choice.
But now he's got an opportunity here to support her, which is, a good change of pace for him, I guess.
Yeah, well, it makes him feel like he's not useless yet.
Good. Yeah. So Gemma calls Mandy back around, and she's been galvanised by Paul's words, and she wants to prove to Mandy that she can do it. Like she's a good person, she's a good childminder, she's a good mum. And Mandy says, look, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter what you say or how sorry you are, I'm going to have to report you. I've got to report this to the early years team. So later on, Chesney's there, and he's saying, well done for talking to the lady, and also for standing up for yourself. And, I could have done more, I guess. We're a team. We should deal with this together. Just so furious about him. It's not even like he's a catch. This is what I get. This is the most annoying thing. It's like, well, at least I'm with Chesney, the world's best, amazing, most brilliant man. No, he's useless and annoying and boring.
Anything more? Wait until Wednesday, because it
gets worse.
It does get worse on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, Gemma's still feeling sad, and then Chesney's like, oh. She's downstairs sleeping, right? He woke up and he's not even noticed that his wife is not even in bed with him. Skips down the stairs. Oh, you shouldn't be sleeping. You stop beating yourself up. She's tidying up. She immediately gets out of bed, off the sofa, and starts tidying. And he's just standing there going, "You're working too hard. Pick some bloody pants up and fold them, Jesney. You useless arsehole." So, Jenny says Gemma has to go for a shift in the Rovers because now she's trying to ask Jenny for some more shifts because she's saying, I can't be a childminder anymore. So I need more money, please. Can I do some more work here? And Jenny's like, I'm really sorry. You might have noticed that no one's coming to the Rovers anymore. So we don't actually have that much spare cash. So I have to do all the work around here. Why don't you ask Henry Newton? Because he is doing something that involves you being able to work for him, I guess.
Yeah, it is work in pubs. He's still...
So we all know he is like the heir of the Newton and Ridley brewery fortune, and he seems to have got himself in a position of power there where he's employing people. So she says, look, you know him, you I mean, I guess you left on bad terms, but he's probably forgotten all that by now. Ask him for a job. And Gemma says, oh, I guess I'm not keen, but there's not going to be much choice. I'm going to have to grovel. So she goes back to Chesney, and Chesney's like, he's just saying, I can't remember what he said, but Gemma's trying to spell out to him how dire their situation is. And I think he said something like, at least we're not some of those losers that use as a food bank. And she's like, where do you think your food comes from?
Where do you think these hoops are from, Chesney?
Yeah, she's scraping, that's right. She's scraping food off the children's plate to eat because she doesn't have enough food. And he's like, oh. And she's like, yeah, I've been getting the food from the food banks. How can this man...
Have you not noticed?
How can this man be so useless that he has not been involved in any step of getting food? If he was involved at all in ordering, preparing, sorting out the menus, getting food, he would know where the food came from.
I mean, he's making Adam look like husband of the year at the moment. I mean, are we supposed to believe that Chesney's working even longer hours, so he's got no idea what goes on at home?
He doesn't know that they've got food from food banks. Again, you know, last year on the podcast, we raised money for the Trussell Trust because I wanted to support people that are in food poverty. And I think Coronation Street missed a bit of a chance here to make it... I think that Chesney's flippant words didn't get addressed properly here, because food banks, you should not be ashamed of using a food bank. The only shameful thing about food banks is that they exist in the first place. Nobody should feel bad for using them, and Gemma's absolutely correct to use anything that she can to help her family.
The thing with
Chesney being all high and mighty about it, it's pathetic.
I don't know how long food banks have been a thing. It feels like it's fairly recent, but maybe it isn't. But Chesney also did grow up in a fairly povo house, didn't he?
Can't say povo.
You know, like he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He had Cilla Brown raising him. She being useless, so quite possibly Fizz did have to go to places like this to feed him. And then when he moved to the street, he was living at number 5 with Les, and again he has. It's not. Yeah, how can he look down on basically his own people?
I don't know who he thinks he is. Yeah, so apparently 2.1 million people used food banks in this country.
That's quite a big proportion.
You shouldn't be ashamed to use them. They're part of us as a society trying to take care of you when other people aren't. Especially at the moment
when we've got the cost of living crisis and increased inflation rates and everything.
Yeah, well, Chesney doesn't live in this world apparently. He lives in fancy Doolal land.
We can just live on kebabs.
Yeah, I'll just eat stuff out the bin. So anyway.
Wait a minute, what's this? Pregnancy test results? It's Damon's baby.
We can use this.
Keep Chesney out of that story, I tell you.
Chesney. So,
but I know who does like loitering around bins, who could find Sarah's results. Uncle Stephen.
He's like, Sarah, I didn't want to mention this, but I was disposing of a body in Victoria Gardens and I found some posts.
Yeah, it had your name on it and it's unopened. I don't know. How did that happen?
Right, so Gemma says Henry Newton is looking to employ people, and she's like, oh, no. I don't like the sound of that. And she says...
He feels threatened because he knows that even though Henry Newton is a bit of a dodgy criminal guy...
He's far superior to Chesney.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so he doesn't like it, and Gemma's like, no, I'm gonna sort this out. I'm gonna ask him for a job, and if you don't like it, you can tell the kids where the next gas bill's coming from then. And Jason's like, no, we can manage. No, we won't. We can't. Do you remember not that long ago they were talking about how they couldn't afford the electricity bill? Because that's gone up as well.
Yeah. I don't know in what universe Chesney thinks that if they just really, really hope for it and use the power of bonding family love,
Yeah.
that'll magically solve their situation.
Maybe he's like, I've thought of an idea, a brilliant idea, Gemma. All of these pasta-shaped pictures we've got everywhere on the walls, why don't we just take the pasta off and eat it? That will solve it. That will solve all of our problems.
I've been talking to your mum and she says if we put crystals around the house, everything's going to be fine. So let's do that.
Tell you what we've been doing, Gem, that I've realised. We've been leaving the toilet seat up, which is bad feng shui because your money goes literally down the drain. So I've put the toilet seats down. It's all going to be sorted out. Don't worry,
honestly, what an idiot.
And the most annoying thing, obviously, about this storyline is that they were poised to have everything taken care of for their family needs when they were the Fresh Goes 5. They could
you have to remind us of that every week.
I cannot help it because they literally had a sponsorship deal with a food company to give them food, and they didn't like it because they airbrushed their pictures. And I can't think of another reason that makes any sense as to why they wouldn't go ahead with it. It makes me so cross. I want to punt them into a bin.
The thing with this is as well, though, and I think what some people I've seen online are worried about is, are they making Chesney out? Are they making him out to look really awful so that it can lead into another affair storyline with Henry? And if Henry does come back, I'm really kind of torn because in a way, of course I want Gemma to dump Chesney and go with Henry. They're a brilliant, brilliant couple. But I don't need another cheating storyline. Coronation Street this year has been all about infidelity. And I don't know whether it'd be worth it. But, it could, if she's thinking, here's a guy, he's changed, maybe, I don't know, and he's offering me this lifeline here, and the person who has, pledged to stay with me for the rest of my life is looking down his nose at me going to food banks. Well, yeah, Henry all the way. He's also mega loaded. But
no
I don't need another cheating story. I really, really don't.
Well, I can't. All right. So Gemma then gets on the phone to Henry, and we don't hear his side of the conversation. So it's not like they've brought the actor back for this. And she leaves a message saying, "I want a job," basically. And Chesney comes in apologetically, and he says, "I promise you, I won't let the social services take the kids away. We can get through this." I mean, I don't know, Mr. Chesney. Maybe they should. Maybe they should. On Friday, Gemma gets a text message from Henry, and he says, I'll be happy to speak to you. And Chesney's like, what are you getting a message about? Is it a food bank? And she says, no, it's just Glenda. And then Beth has a drive-by sniping. And Chesney asks Kirk, look, can you have a word with her? Because she's really annoying. And Kirk says, I know she is, but we're not together anymore, so there's nothing I can do about it. So at the factory, Kirk gives Beth some tea to butter her up and says, look, can we have a chat about Gemma? I think you're being a bit harsh on her because she's really sorry. And so Beth's like apologetic about it, and she goes round to number 5 and she squirmingly, sadly apologises to Gemma and saying she's just overprotective. And then she said, and then this annoys me as well because she's like, look, do you want to open up to me, the woman who's literally just blown your life up into a million pieces, about how sad it is that your brother's dying? You can, because Sinead died, and I'm sad about that as well. Why don't we go to the pub together?
Beth just seems that she can name drop Sinead into everything, and then everyone's going to say, oh, Beth, poor you. She literally is.
Yeah. She's like, I can be as nasty as I want all the time.
Because my niece died.
My niece died.
Like, join the club.
Really tragically.
Everybody living on this street has had some close family member or friend
die in a really tragic way.
Horrible way. Yeah. So sorry, Beth. Yeah. You don't have the monopoly on that.
No, you don't. So she's like, oh, come to the pub with me. If I was Gemma, I'd say no. Go sit on
a... I suppose Gemma hasn't been able to indulge in very many drinks of late if she's saving the cash.
Well, yeah, she's like, you buy the drinks then, you horrible twisted cow.
Although somehow, whenever anybody in Coronation Street is having money woes, they still do have the somehow extra funds to go to the pub or the cafe.
Oh, that's just a different fun. That's a different budget.
Yeah.
So they go to the pub and Kirk is there, and so
The story kind of ends up being a Beth and Kirk story, doesn't
yeah,
it?
they make up and they go have a go to speed dial, but they don't even have food. They go home to shag.
Yes, and
Wow.
that's that. So,
Yeah.
and where do you want? Let's just cover this Kirk and Beth reunion. The most pointless breakup ever. All over this slap, which he has now apparently forgiven her
I
about.
can't believe that Kirk did not call out her hypocrisy here. Did he? Did he mention this?
He's not smart enough. What was the scene that he was having today that was showing about how thick it... Oh, the dry January thing.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Gordon Bennett. I'm sorry. Nothing that
The thing
Kirk can
is,
say
if
anymore
you
is
were that
really going to get a
stupid,
genuine laugh from me.
You couldn't function in society.
He didn't used to be as thick as he is now. This guy is what, 40 or so. He's acting like he's getting he's going to be catch up with his IQ soon.
I know it's bordering on you can't laugh at him because this is actually some kind of
it's just
problem.
sad. It's I can't find it funny. It's just the same as Mary. As soon as he gets into a scene, I'm like, oh, here we go. Just get rid. Just honestly,
Michael, I'm the one that rants about people on this show, not you. We can't both rant about people.
They should have made this story. If they wanted to have a tragic story where somebody close to Gemma was going to die in a horrible way over a series of years with MND, they should have given it to Kirk.
Michael,
what? I'd rather it was him than Paul.
No, right. Tell me what else you've got to say.
I can wish.
No, you can't.
MND on other characters.
No, you can't.
Right. So hooray, they're back together again. So Henry.
Is that what you want? You said let's talk about it, and then you just slagged off Kirk, and you didn't even talk about it.
Well, that's all there is. There's nothing to say.
I don't know why he would ever want to be with Beth because she showed her true colours.
He is like a loyal dog that that misses his mistress.
I couldn't be with someone who was that vindictive.
I don't think he realises she is generally nice to
vile.
him, but he's also like a loyal dog who, when he sits on the carpet, she kind of probably gives him a bit of a bash around the head and says, "You dirty boy," and drags his face through it, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, sorry." Oh,
what is this
but
fantasy you're making up?
That's just right. Henry stuff. I don't know what more we can say about that because it literally is just possibility at the moment. I really wished that if he were to appear, I'd love it to have happened this week because they're just going to be dragging it out now. The thing is, if it is going to happen, surely it's got to happen soon-ish because if he's now saying to her, "Come and get a job," she's got to do something about that, hasn't she? Or is she going to have a secret job?
Yeah, I just imagine that it's going to be just just because he's the one that's facilitated the job doesn't mean that he's going to be there. If he's in charge of it, he could just get a job at a different pub. It doesn't even have to be any more serious than that.
Yes.
Because sometimes they do that where they're like, "Oh, we're just going to drop somebody's name, see how people react, and if they like it, maybe we'll think about bringing them back. Maybe we won't."
But honestly, when we heard that Henry's name was going to be brought up in the street this week, very, very, very exciting moment. We were just like, I can't believe this. This is literally exactly what we have been asking for. Our hashtag Bring Back Henry campaign for all this time.
Do you think that he
and
married...
it's not Bring Up Henry.
Bring Up Henry. Do you think that he married Chris?
Yes, he did. That was I was having a look on his Coripedia page earlier, and we find out that he married Cressida that October. So I don't know whether he still is married to her or whether if wherever it goes, it turns out that he's not anymore. I don't know.
I'm also intrigued as to what kind of job this is that she's asking for. Are they going to build a set? This is the thing. It could even just be as simple as she just go. Maybe it could be as simple as Dolly Rose Campbell is going to go away somewhere, take a break from the show because she's been in it quite a lot, and we know that she's going to have a hard time with the Paul storyline as he grows sicker. There's going to be a lot of heavy scenes, a lot of work to do. she could end up just going, oh, Henry's got me a job in Norfolk, so I'm going to go work with Fizz. You know what I mean? And then disappear, because otherwise, aren't they going to have to build a whole new set for another pub?
No, if they want a temporary pub, they've got other pubs that they can go to,
Do
haven't
they?
they? Well, yeah, they had Adam
Yeah,
and
no,
Niall
but-
in that other pub
Yeah,
the
but
other
that,
week,
that
didn't they?
doesn't
And
feel
that's
like
the
the
dog
sort
and gun.
of pub that you can film enough scenes.
They don't need
Yeah.
lots of.
I don't know either. I'm just saying.
I'd be really interested to see if they can have, brewery.
Yeah, is she going to work in a factory making beer, or is she going to employ her in the office doing admin?
Oh yeah, probably. If Summer and
Of
Sarah
course.
can do it, then surely she can.
Maybe
as well.
she's going to do some amazing presentations.
Anyway, potentially very, very exciting stuff on the horizon
It
there.
could be,
But
couldn't it?
let's
Or it
park
could be
that.
just a big disappointment.
Let's park that. As I say, I have been speaking to George this week. So, the Stephen storyline, Gemma. And there were bins in this, weren't there, on Wednesday? You know, when he was skulking around those dumpsters at the end of Wednesday's episode, it's like, they know. Whoever wrote him skulking around the bins know that there is among the cult of Stephen, there's a thing about him in bins. Don't you think?
Do you think he's going to end up in a bin?
Well, I said that at the beginning of the year that his final showdown would be at the dump. And it's just become a bit of a big inside joke, hasn't it?
Yeah, I like
So
it.
I found it hilarious. Anyway, so it's Sally's birthday on Monday. So the family are all going to be getting together for that. Stephen reminds Audrey at the beginning of the episode that even though Elaine may seem quite chipper, she's absolutely definitely down and suicidal, honestly, believe me. So he's still trying to drip that idea into people's heads that Elaine is feeling pretty depressed. I don't think there was any furthering of that element of the story this week, was there, with the letter or the poisoning her or anything. So I don't know whether that's been put off to next week or whatever. But we get the party scene, and I loved how Elaine's present to Sally was an identical blouse or whatever it was to one that she wears. And Sally's like, "Is that not yours?" She says, "Oh yeah, you said that you liked it, so now we can match." I thought that was funny. She is especially chuffed to see that Tai Chi instructor Jerry is also there at the bistro for, I can't remember what the reason is. And Sally says, "Oh, you can come, if you know Elaine, you can come and join us if you like." And Stephen is not impressed with this. And then we get this scene where Jerry is regaling the whole story with table with the story of, what was it, staring down a wolf in the outback somewhere. Was that what it was?
Yeah, he uses his Tai Chi skills to convince a wolf not to eat his face off.
And everyone is hanging on his every word, apart from Stephen, who is, the looks that he's given are just brilliant, because if I was Stephen and I wanted to get Elaine out of my hair, then this would be the perfect opportunity, really. But he's like really, really narked, I think.
Possessive.
He is. He's like, "You can't have her."
I don't want her. You can't have her though.
Yeah.
Well, he wants her money, and he doesn't want.
Yeah, he don't want Jerry getting.
Yeah. So he gets all jealous of everybody being into Jerry and says.
He says, "Look, I can take care of myself in my own way if I need to."
Yeah.
All you need is a hole punch or a.
I know. I think I would love him to. I really want there
balcony.
to be a face off between Jerry and Stephen, where like Jerry's like trying to do some kind of Tai Chi like hand waving, and then he just pushes him into a bin.
I'd love that. That'd be brilliant. See, if Jerry, the one thing that this story does have going for it is lots of potential victims are coming, and then we're saying, is it going to be Owen? Is it going to be Jerry? Is it going to be Elaine?
I don't remember this ever being a part of a serial killer storyline on Corrie.
No, and it's like it's still the sad thing is none of the characters are particularly exciting, or they do get killed. But I really, really do not know who his next victim is going to be.
No,
not that, it would be boring if you did, I suppose. But
now we've got
there's what?
Now we've got Gertrude, Giselle, Gabrielle. She's back.
Yeah, well, on the end of a phone, she's back. Anyway, so back at home later, and Elaine's rittering on about Tai Chi again, and Stephen says, "This guy going on about wolves. What the hell is he on? That's not true. He's just taking you on a ride. You can't You
Believe
can't
him.
calm down a wolf with the power of Tai Chi. And
Yeah.
Elaine says, well, I don't care. Wouldn't Jerry fit in so nicely with
And
our
Stephen's
group?
like, anyway, a moose is better than a wolf.
Yeah, you should see.
Yeah.
Those massive mooses over in Canada.
Yeah, I fought one with a hole punch.
I fought one with a hole punch and I put it in a waste paper basket.
How'd you like that?
Yeah. So this is when Stephen pulls his face at Elaine.
This is great. She turns around to do something with the microwave, and he kind of goes,
This face that he pulls was brilliant. Somebody beat us to making a gif of that this week.
Yeah.
But she catches his reflection in the microwave and turns around and says, "Are you pulling a face?" And he's like, "Oh no, I was just trying to, I didn't get something from between my teeth. I can't remember what excuse was that he gave." And she's like, "No, you weren't." And so when he leaves, she's looking like proper upset that, why would he do this? This is my fiance. She's really starting to worry that
him, and now
he's treating her really, really cruelly
out of nowhere, because she hasn't picked up on any of these signs that he doesn't like her.
No, not really.
As far as she knows, he's as much in love with her as she is with him. But then she catches this. It must be like seeing a bloody ghost of Jeff.
Exactly, it is. It's like Jeff again. Yeah. It's haunting her.
She's shocked. She's just completely shocked. She can't believe what she thinks she's seen.
I wonder whether she's going to start having Jeff flashbacks. Whether he's going to start haunting Red Bank after he's going to move on for number 6. Maybe. We haven't seen him there for a while.
Maybe when Stephen eventually, because I'm sure he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna go to prison. I think he's gonna die. I don't know why I think that, but he dies, and then he and Jeff have a ghost fight.
Yeah, brilliant.
On the roof.
So Wednesday's episode, and Elaine's with Tim saying, "Look, I'm a little bit worried about Stephen. He was making these horrible faces. I don't even know whether he really likes me."
And Tim's like,
"Well, I like you."
Tim's like, well, "Yeah, I'm the only one that does like you."
Yeah, and I'll prove it by coming along to your Tai Chi lessons with you later. He's not super happy that the fact that he's got to do it, but
I'll go to your boring Tai Chi.
As a devoted son, sometimes you got to do these things. And he manages to convince Steve to tag along too, just so they can have
hilarious
classic Corrie comedy scene. You hear from the tone of my voice what I thought of the Tai Chi scene.
That's because you've never done an exercise class where somebody's farted. It's very relatable, this is.
Oh my gosh, honestly. So everyone's there. There's token non-regular character.
There's 2.
Oh yeah, the one on either end of the line, isn't
They're
there?
like, you stand at the other end, so if you get cut out, it doesn't matter.
It's Sally, Tim, Steve, Elaine, Jerry, 2 anonymous, and Ed for some reason, because it's like,
I'd come and have a go.
I don't know what that was about. Like, I'll get his episode count up again. But anyway, Elaine has to apologise to him for Stephen not turning up. He's like, "Don't worry, I promise you a good session." So the lesson's in full swing later, and it is basically just a chance for actors to look a bit silly, and certain actors, naming no names, to go a little bit over the top with how silly they were.
I reckon this is a compensation to whoever came up with the, V Court Fitness idea, and then they got rid of that gym, and whoever it was probably devastated, and they said, "Look, we'll just every so often we'll do like some kind of group exercise like Tai Chi," and they finally got around to doing it.
Think you're onto something. Mm-hmm. Weirdly, Sally seems to fancy Jerry a bit. I mean, as a female, a fellow female, do you see any attraction in Jerry? Because it seems like all the girls are a bit into Jerry.
Who wouldn't like a man who can subdue wolves with the power of Tai Chi?
He also looks like he's a sort that's very in touch with his feelings, isn't he?
No, I couldn't be having with that. How's he at eating apples?
Is he a bit too much of a wet blanket?
Yeah, I wouldn't have that, no. Oh, I'm really upset because you didn't put the lid back on the milk or something, no.
Anyway, after the lesson, Jerry says, "Oh, we should go and have a group bonding session later." And Elaine's like, "Yes, please," but nobody else is really
up
says, for this.
"Yes, please." Everyone... I thought you said something different. Group bonding. Okay.
Not bonking session. Now, everyone
else is like, not really.
Sally seems to fancy him, people get the impression that he's a little bit weird, I think, and I don't want to spend the whole day with him. So the rest of the episode is just people coming up with excuses to not go along to this evening meal together, and it ends up is it just Elaine at the end, I think? So Elaine goes home and there's this definite air of awkwardness between her and Stephen, and he says, "Look, I'm really sorry about earlier. I know I've been off. I booked you into a Thai restaurant because I know you like your Tai Chi and all that."
What?
That's what he says.
Does he?
Yeah.
They're not at all related.
Aren't they? Is
No.
Tai Chi not from Thailand?
No.
Oh, well, there we go. That shows, well, me and Stephen know. And he says, "Look, I'm sorry for upsetting you yesterday. Could I come along to your thing?" Because she's told him, "Well, I can't come along to a Thai restaurant because
I'm going out for a meal.
already going out with my Tai
friends.
Chi friends." And he says, "I can come along." And she's like, "No." So she's starting to take back
Good for
some of the
her.
power. Yeah, exactly. She's finding her voice a little bit and, yeah, playing him at his own game. So Sally and Tim pull out of the session. Steve does as well. And it looks like in the end it's just Elaine, Jerry and Ed. And Ed, as they're walking there, says, "Oh, I'm going to go off and do something else, can't remember." And this is where Stephen's snooping around the corner and hiding behind bins as Jerry and Elaine walk past. And then once they get past the bins, he kind of pops up from the other side and is like, "Curses." So,
Love it.
and that's where that's left. Sadly, we didn't get any of that today. I think this storyline might have lifted it a little bit, in my view. But still a lot of fun. Do you think that Elaine is going off Stephen now? Is she being wooed by Jerry?
Yeah, I reckon.
Could she say, "Sorry, Stephen, screw you, I'm going off with Jerry"?
I hope not. I want Stephen to win. I want Uncle Stephen to triumph and kill everybody.
And what would that look like?
Kill Elaine, kill Jerry, kill Tim for sure.
This is just a total disaster of relationship because he fancies Jenny, Elaine fancies Jerry.
I know, they've got such similar names.
Yeah, exactly.
Jerry and Jenny. Tell you what, if Jenny claps eyes on Jerry, watch out Elaine, because that's exactly the sort of man she goes for too.
Yeah, very true. I've seen some people online suggesting that Jerry could be a bit dodgy and dark and he's a little bit too good to be true. I've not been getting those vibes at all from him. He's worked his charms on me.
Do you think he's an undercover policeman?
Yeah, probably. So I don't know. I don't know what that would look like. But I don't know, putting the idea out there. That's
it.
That's kind of it. It was.
I loved Stephen's faceport. It was fantastic. He is terrible. What a naughty man he is. But I love him.
Nothing massive, but still lots of fun.
Imagine though, if you're Stephen, how much you would hate Elaine at this point.
Why?
Because she won't die, right? And you hate her.
He's not been trying hard enough.
And she just whittering on all the bloody. Oh, I love this Tai Chi. Jerry's something good. There's a wolf and he's like, and then she catches him, and then you have to apologise and book into a Thai restaurant. It's so annoying. But can you see what I mean? He must have so much contempt for her.
I know.
It's seething hatred that he's generating, which is so bad.
I'd love it if he is going to kill her, and sadly, I think he's going to do it subtly. But I'd love it if he just launches this massive rant at her by telling her exactly what he thinks of her.
And then she dies of a heart
and what
attack.
an annoying woman she is to live with.
That would be so cruel.
I didn't want to marry you.
Yeah.
Me and get engaged to you. Ha!
Stephen, why? Why would you do this?
I was on LSD.
Oh,
the only way you could get someone to love you is by drugging them.
Oh my god, that's so fantastic. I want that scene.
Right, so we have got Max the X.
Is this the final one?
No, and I don't think I put this in the list of stories at the beginning, actually. I forgot that we had this one as well. This is Max the X and Lauren, not Bex.
Nice one.
We have had that one before.
Oh, okay. I liked it the first time as well.
Yeah, I did leave this from my storyline list.
On Wednesday, Shona catches Max stuffing a bag with food, and she thinks that it's for him and Bex, but no, he's taking Sabrina out for a picnic. She's starving waif.
No, what do you mean she thinks it's for Bex? Bex is Sabrina.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sabrina, not Beck. Is the whole point. She's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
He says,
I'm
going to be taking Sabrina out for a picnic.
No, I got confused because he isn't actually taking Sabrina out. He says he's taking her out, but when Sabrina turns up at the cafe, Shona asks her if she's going to looking forward to the picnic, and she obviously doesn't know anything about it because it's Lauren that Max is giving the food to in Victoria Gardens. And Lauren's like, thank you very much. By the way, my dad, do you remember him?
Lauren should just go to a food bank. I hear they're very good in Weatherfield. They do very good hoops.
They do lovely hoops. She says, Max, my dad wants you to go and visit. No, wants me to go visit, and I want you to come with me. I'm thinking about going. What do you think? And then, surprise, surprise, Sabrina turns up, and Max is like, I can explain.
Max, listen, if you've got a secret bird on the side that you're giving a load of food, don't do it out in public. Yeah. Don't do it in Victoria Gardens where somebody's bound to walk past, especially if they don't live round here and they might be getting there on the tram.
If you are having a white supremacist picnic, don't do it underneath the balcony of your best friend who is also black and has a sister that you fancy.
Exactly.
Don't do it. And have it somewhere else.
Speed dial's just across the street. What are you doing, Max?
Well, he's getting cheap food. To be caught. He's getting cheap food. He don't want to pay for it.
Maybe he likes the thrill. Maybe that's his thing.
That explains a lot of the behaviour of characters on Coronation Street. They want to be caught because they like the thrill. They're all perverts. So anyway, Lauren's like, no, we're just friends. And Max says, please talk to me. And Sabrina's like, I'm not interested. So, I don't know what this says.
Where?
She's with him at number 8 altar.
Later.
Still in a knock.
Yeah.
Who is?
Sabrina.
Okay, so she's mad, as Michael's just translated.
Yes. Right, excellent note writing.
Max says, I just don't want Lauren to get into trouble. She hasn't got anyone to look out for her. And then Sabrina, he tries to sort of touch Sabrina's arm, and she doesn't like it. She runs off, and Max tells Shona that he's been dumped. So Max then goes to the Ginnell to meet up with Lauren later, and she says, I want to talk to Sabrina about it, to explain everything. And he says, no point. And Lauren says, well, I've got your back no matter what, because we are friends for life. And Max says, in that case, I'll go to the prison with you to see your dad.
Which is exactly what she wants.
It's a plan. So Lauren's on the phone to Reese later, and she says, Max is coming like you wanted.
Yeah, so we had a bit of a surprise. I was fairly surprised by this. I'd seen, sadly, spoiler pictures of Max and Lauren going to visit Reese, but I genuinely didn't think that Lauren was a secret undercover bad girl in this.
No.
And this heartens me because I think I'd rather Max and Sabrina
I want them together.
Got together. I'd rather him and Lauren. So the fact that Lauren has now been exposed as dodgy, that works in my favour.
Did you hear about that person at Highfield Prison that had their eyes gouged out?
No.
Yeah, it was Reese with a spoon.
Well done. That's a good one.
If only that could be a storyline title.
Okay. Oh, that's tickled me.
On Friday, it's Kylie's anniversary of when she died.
Yeah, 7 years. 7 years.
And
I remember it well. Coronation Street spoiled it 2 weeks in advance, and I thought, why did you do that, Corrie? Just let it be a surprise on the night.
Right, so apparently they mark this every year, and we've never seen it before. Because Max is just as surprised as we are that they actually pay attention to this anniversary. And they say, Max, do you want to do anything? And he says, no, I'll mark it in my own way.
Well, he can't go with them, can he? Because he's promised to Sabrina that he's going to go to prison.
He's also surprised that it's the anniversary of his mum's death. I think they shouldn't have brought it up then.
Yeah.
Let him just live in blissful ignorance.
Yeah. And I wonder how well he remembers her.
Well, he was a different person back then.
I mean, he was. I mean, I suppose he still would have some memory. What old was he? 8 or so.
Of course, he would remember his mum. So, I like also they're talking about we're going to go to the grave, and then Shonna's like, then maybe we'll have lunch and maybe go to the cinema. Like she's like, honestly, everyone else is sad, but I didn't even know her, and to be honest, the fact she's dead only benefits me. So time for a party. So they head off, and Max immediately lets Lauren in the back door, and she says, "Oh, I'm really nervous about going to meet my dad." Max and Lauren go to the tram stop, and Sabrina's there, and everyone's really tense. And Max tells Sabrina that he's going to go to the prison to support Lauren, and she's not impressed with this at all. So when they get there, Reese is in the waiting room, in the visiting room, and Max is finding it very uncomfortable, and he doesn't really know what he's doing there. I guess he just thinks he's there to support Lauren, but he's taken by surprise when Reese congratulates him for making a statement against Griff, and Reese is like, I'm really proud of you, I should have done it myself. And then he insinuates...
Yeah, he sort of kind of makes out that he's also seen the error of his ways,
Well,
and he was also brainwashed by Griff and stuff. And...
Griff is like the most amazing hypnotist who's managed to convince everyone to be racist. And he also insinuates that Griff had threatened to hurt Lauren, and that's one of the reasons why Reese has gone along with all of his evil plans. And Lauren kind of looks, you know, sad and demure, as though, yes, that is true, I was in mortal danger. We couldn't help but be racist. And they both ask Max to make another statement about Griff saying so. So Max has realised that they're using him to try to get Reese a lesser sentence or something. And he's like, I'm not going to stand up in court and lie for you, Reese. Not you, especially nobody like you. And he leaves them both there. And Reese says, look, once he's calmed down, you need to go after him and convince him. So they go outside the prison, definitely not Coronation Street, ITV Studios, and he's mad. He's mad at Lauren for putting him in this position, and she's saying, no, look, you're both victims of Griff. We're all victims of Griff. We need to stick together. You need to help my dad. And this is when Spider comes up and confronts them, and Lauren reveals that she told this journalist everything about Toya, including what size gag you need. And back at home, after all this has gone down, Lauren feels a bit guilty about all this, and Max says that I've decided I want to help you. And David and Shona come back from their Kylie's dead party and find that Lauren is there, and they're very shocked and annoyed to see this. Max explains what's happened, and he begs them, please can Lauren stay here because she's basically homeless. She's got nowhere to stay. So David and Shona have a conversation, and Shona's dead against this, but David says, we really can't. We've got to, what can we do? We kind of have to look after her.
Well,
so
he's also that, but I think that David is having to be very careful about saying no to Max. Because
pushing him away again.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to bend over backwards to accommodate Max's wishes at the moment.
I know, but really not encouraging more racists would be a good point to sort of concentrate on.
I think it was odd. Well, not odd. I mean, Max is deep down is a good kid, I think. But I thought that once he realised that he was being used by Lauren and Reese, he would want to kick her to the curb, because he has got a real chance of a good thing with Sabrina at the moment.
He's being a bit silly, isn't he?
Yeah, there's one thing being a gentleman and being noble and bringing her picnics and everything, but he's throwing the chance with Sabrina away, and I think probably if Lauren wasn't dodgy and racist, he probably would pick her over Sabrina, but he knows that she's tricked him, basically. I would be saying, sorry, Lauren, there's food banks there. You're on your own.
Food banks is not the answer to every problem on the show.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel, in a way, sorry for Lauren, because it does make sense. It's natural to want to support your dad, get him out of prison as much as you can, especially if you think that he is, maybe she does think that he was taken for a ride by Griff. I was going to say,
how much do you think Lauren believes what Reese is saying? Because I don't see her as anything other than, you've written Lauren's actually nasty, but I don't think so. I think she's just a kid who is being manipulated by her dad. She
is only young. I think that's really important, yeah.
And I don't know how much she believes Reese when he says that he never would have done any of it without Griff. Because she's been raised by this man to have certain sets of beliefs, and I'm still not sure what she actually thinks. I'm kind of thinking that when Lauren's time to leave the show comes, she's going to be revealed as still holding these beliefs, and she's going to be horrible and racist about Sabrina, and that's going to make Max realise that she hasn't changed, and then he's going to kick her to the curb. But at the moment, she's just as lost as Max. She hasn't done as much wrong as Max has done, because she never was tried or accused of any crimes, unlike him. But she's suffered more because she's got nowhere to go. She hasn't got. She was staying with her mum, but it looks like her mum's boyfriends were molesting her. So now she's basically homeless and she can't feed herself. And she's got no, like I was saying, last week, she doesn't seem to have any ability to imagine a life for herself that involves anything positive.
Yeah.
So I feel sorry for her at the moment, because at the moment we don't really know.
I do somewhat.
Whether she's up to
I'm
something.
thinking that if I was Coronation Street, I probably would want to keep her, and I'm thinking,
You can't
is she?
rehabilitate all the racists.
I'm thinking that she would make a very convenient Kelly replacement as the beautiful blonde young kind of wafy character that sees the errors of her ways and is reformed, and then we all forget where she came from. I think she slots into that quite right.
Becky didn't turn up on the street going, immigrants, right? You know what I mean?
Well, I know you got to make it slightly different, but
you can't go that different, Michael. What's next?
If we as viewers are supposed to forgive Max, and I think Corrie desperately wants us to forgive Max, they could do it with Lauren as well.
No.
Okay. I'm getting a little bit worried about the fact that we haven't seen Gav, and I'm wondering, is he done with now?
Please bring Gav back.
I really, really, really want to see Gav.
Bring back Gav.
Yeah, we've been successful, hopefully, in our bring back Henry.
We'll see if it works.
But yeah, I just think he'd be perfect on the street, and we've still got the mystery of where's Beck.
If Henry eventually does come back to the show, and we get proven that we were right with our hashtags, I'm going to start one for us to win the lottery, because I need that as well.
Right, so we had the RD storyline that started today.
It's not even the final one, is it? There's another one after this.
Well, they're very, very short. All that happened to RD today is he was getting a bit fed up of working behind the counter, pricing up tins of beans 15p cheaper than they actually should be, getting
that's inflation
not particularly useful sales technique advice from Dev. ASS, a smile sells.
Inflation's so bad that the price of beans goes up 15 pence by the time you finish putting the stickers on.
And when Amy comes round, she has little chats with Ardy, and Nina and Asher get the impression that he fancies her. And at first he's like, no, they're just friends. We're just friends. But by the end of the episode, he's had a bit of a think about it. And it's like, yeah, actually, I think maybe I have got feelings for Amy. And he manages to get her some shifts at the shop. I mean, Gemma probably should have taken those. I think her need is greater, but what are you going to do?
What can you do?
So, good match, Ardy and Amy, maybe. But again, where this storyline is going has been semi-heavily publicised. Have you seen where this story is going? Just a little yes or no?
No.
Oh, Gemma says no. Okay,
what are they going to do?
I'm not saying. But I'll leave it at that. Well, nice to see an Ardy storyline. I hope it stays an Ardy storyline and it doesn't start off as him and then diverge to someone else. A bit like sometimes when Aggie gets a storyline and then it turns into somebody else's. So yeah, great.
I love Dev in this. He was great.
Dev doing his Devingest moments behind the counter today with his smile, and I loved it when who was it? Ardy and somebody were at the counter. Oh, it was Asher, wasn't it? And then Dev comes out and he just pauses.
Yeah.
He goes, "What are you two doing? You're in the same room and you're not even arguing."
I love that. I love the dynamic between these three.
Yeah,
more of that, please.
More
Alahans.
Yeah.
They're great. I just, like you said before, these sibling moments between Asher and Ardy. It's just really nice to see them grow up together.
Yeah.
You know, even though it was a different Ardy, we've seen them from when they were very young, and now they're going into the world as adults.
They've been past their little age change.
Yeah, and Ardy, you know, he had all these bright ideas about his future, and now he's pricing beans up. What are you doing, boy? I thought he was going to do a business course so he could take over the family business and run Dev out of town.
Yeah, that idea never went
burning
anywhere,
alive in a car.
Yeah.
Well, that story went literally nowhere. What happened?
I don't know.
Because they could still do it. But too much time has passed now.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Ardy, and then we had a little bit of Ryan stuff on Monday, didn't we? Yeah.
He's looking at himself in the mirror on Monday, looking at his abs, going, not too bad, looking up at his face, don't like that.
I couldn't tell what he was doing because, he was getting changed, wasn't he? And he was checking himself out in the mirror. And I was thinking, is he looking at himself saying, I've still got it? Or is he looking at himself saying, ooh, I'm not quite as chiseled down there as I used to be?
No, that's a rude thing to say.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know which one it is.
He looked fine to me.
Oh, did he indeed?
Well, you're the one that's you can't say that. That's rude.
I didn't. I literally. I'm saying I
There's
didn't
no
know.
need to say that either because he looked fine.
I didn't. He does. I wish
He
I
looked
looked
incredibly.
Like that.
Maybe he was looking at
I
himself.
wasn't sure the vibe that I was supposed to be getting from that.
He was looking at his body, going, "My body's a 10 out of 10. My face, I'm giving myself a 6."
But he's going off to stay with Michelle, isn't he? This was
all that basically happens is that
he gets in a taxi. Toya and Spider tell Daisy, Ryan's just going off, so she says, "Toya, hold my beer."
Yeah, literally.
I'm gonna go and see Ryan off, and she sees him getting into a taxi, and then looks very sad about
and that's it. She just cries as he drives off to Ireland.
Get over
She
him,
was
Daisy.
like, "Damn it! I wanted him to get me some duty free. Can you get duty free from Ireland?"
I don't know.
We've never been.
We've never been to Ireland. I
want to go. It's so much further away from us than it is from Manchester.
Right. So I am still going to say that this week's Coronation Street was pretty good. I think when we did our Street Talk shorts this week, I got one banging and two bog standards. One was a better bog standard than the other. But it feels like with the discussion, we were somewhat down on the main story, the A story, the Spider and Toya story. It just didn't quite have the excitement that it should have had. But apart from that, there was a lot of good stuff. I really enjoyed the pregnancy story.
Yeah, I'm really loving
the tease
that.
of Henry Newton coming back was great. Stephen is obviously always good for a laugh. Ardy we enjoy, so nice to see he's getting a story. Dev was great as well. On the whole, it was a good week. Not going to say it's in the 4 territory, but an absolutely solid 3.5 exploding marshmallow men out of 5.
Oh,
which is my favourite bit of Ghostbusters as well. What about you?
I'm going to give it 3 pictures of a spider with the word rat written underneath it that you found on a right wing white supremacist forum.
Fantastic. Do we have a character of the week?
Who's the character of
I don't think I can say it's anybody in the Toya and Spider storyline. Spider's being very dodgy.
What about Sam?
Clearly not. Who can it be?
What about the unborn child of possibly Damon?
Let me have
Adam?
a think about this. I did really enjoy Adam this week, and he's never usually a character of the week sort of material, but I just kind of feel bad for him, so I don't know, do I give him a sympathy vote?
Why not?
I mean, could well be, is Jenny the character of the week for suggesting that they bring back Henry? Oh. I don't know whether that's enough to give her character of the week. I found Stephen very entertaining. I don't know, nobody's really standing out to me, though there was lots of reasons why it could be lots of people. There isn't one definite.
There were a lot of stories.
This is that person,
and there were a lot of like mediocre moments, but there are also some fun ones.
I loved the whole bistro scene with Toya and Spider when she agrees to his proposal, and he's like, "Oh, Toya, it's always only been you," and it's like, "Oh, I do get the idea that there is this 25-year-old romance here that could finally end in a wedding, even though I still don't think it will." Who is the character of the week? I think I might go, not for a character point of view, but not because of the actions of the character, but someone who I really enjoyed watching, and they went through a tough time, acting superb as always from this particular actress. I'm going to go Sarah Lou as my character of the week. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you might give it to Sarah Lou, but then I remembered your weird rule that you have that you can't do anybody who's done bad moral things.
No, I'm going to go with her. Are you
ditching that stupid idea?
No, I don't. I have some weeks I'll stick with that. Sometimes I go with other things. I think Sarah Lou was the one that I enjoyed watching the most this week. I was
definitely...
like, what is she going to do next?
Sarah, can I just say, Sarah and Stephen, do they get the award for the most chaotic characters of the year?
Yeah.
They literally are just sowing misery in their wake as they go and just causing so much mayhem.
Who's your character of the week?
I'm going to give this to Stephen, Uncle Stephen, because
really?
I liked the gurning and the lurking. and like I like the way that he's pushing Elaine. I think he's pushed her too far now, because her rejecting his invitation to the restaurant. That's a bad sign, Stephen. You're gonna have to grovel, my friend.
Hopefully, there's going to be some good Stephen stuff next week.
Yeah.
I've now got the idea into my head that Isabella's going to come back next week, which is going to knock off at least a point. That's sorry, it's true.
What do you think is going to be the end of that story?
What, Isabella?
Yeah, I just think she's secretly going to turn out to be English, just pretending to be Italian.
We did think that she had something dodgy about her flat, which is apparently on permanent need of renovation, didn't we?
The actress who plays her is English. She's not Italian. That's why it's given me that.
Going to be a Fred and Orchid story.
Yeah. Except it's not as politically incorrect as that one. She's
I
up
wouldn't
for something,
mind
isn't she?
if it was.
She's out for something. She's trying to scam him somehow, surely. Is she even related to him? That's my question.
I don't know. I don't
think she is.
I hope that it's over.
I think she's going to be
this
like...
time next week.
She's going to turn out to be an evil cockney. I can't believe it, Brian. You've only gone and rambled me plans.
That's your cockney accent. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dick. Dick Van Dyke.
Oh.
Right. I mean, we've been waffling far too long for this. Last week's Street Talk was just so mega short, wasn't it? It was literally the shortest one we've done since Corrie moved to 6 episodes a week, I think. We just had nothing to say. But
made up for it this week.
We did.